Sending that one forward, finds Carter Lowe through the neutral zone. Lowe waits, takes the shot, kicks aside, rebound, scores! Cole Bodwin! Welcome to the Sudbury Community Arena for tonight's matchup between the Barrie Colts and the Sudbury Wolves. It's the second half of a home-and-home between these two rivals. I'm your host, Mike Poirier, joined aside Gene Pereira, Josh McCann. Also here, not sure where he's hiding, but he'll be joining us later in the broadcast. But Barrie Colts coming off a big win last night against this very same Sudbury Wolves team, extending their winning streak to 5 games, and now a chance to extend it even further to 6 games.
Yeah, playing some good hockey right now. And obviously last night, a couple of big-time stories in the sense that secondary scoring came through early for them, gave them the lead, and then the big guns came out late to put that one away. Then, of course, the penalty kill, Mike, Barrie Colts, holding Sudbury scoreless on 7 power play chances. It's an area that they've struggled, but they've certainly been much better of late. Their specialty teams as well, the power play coming up with a couple of goals as well. So big factor last night in that win.
And also seeing a player like Bodie Stewart get his first goal of the regular season, which has to be a big relief for the veteran on this Barrie Colts team, because we saw the same thing last year. It took him quite a while to get his first goal of the season, and then he got into that groove, and maybe we'll see more of that here tonight from Bodie Stewart.
Yeah, he's racking up the assists last year at the start, and then it took him a little bit to get that first goal. Same again this season, but he's certainly a veteran. The Colts look to provide some offense, and again, the Dylan Smosk was talking to him. He talked about the importance of that secondary scoring, and guys like Bodie Stewart, Carter Lowe, those types of guys. Joe Salantra, Desiderio coming through as well on the scoreboard. So those are the guys they look to provide some offense to help out the big guns.
And at the end of the game last night, they announced the 3 stars, and Cole Bodwin, second star. I'm like, okay, yeah, he had a pretty good game. I didn't clue in. He had 4 assists. So he continues to rack up the points. He's now in the top 6 in OHL scoring. He's just been incredible ever since coming back from the Utah Mammoth.
Yeah, 8 straight games with a point, at least a point, and now moving up, I think the 6th in the OHL in scoring. And here's a guy that, like I said, missed the start of the year, and he's right up there already. And he's just been a huge factor for this team early on, and he just keeps racking up. I mean, what can you say? I mean, at both ends, that compete factor, and it's a big reason why he's one of the co-captains.
And while we're on the storylines of milestones, Kayshawn Aitchison, he's right now riding a 5-game goal-scoring streak. Remember, he's a defenseman. He now leads all OHL defensemen in goal scoring with 12. He's just been lights out, Mr. Clutch. We saw those 2 overtime winners against Brantford and Sarnia, and he just doesn't look like he's slowing down.
Yeah, 6 goals in those 5 games. And again, there's a guy that, as well, when you look at those goals, they're big-time goals, whether it be overtime or game winners. And, that's clutch. He's been stepping up, the veteran, and, his game took a really big turn last year. We knew the physical part was there, but we saw the offense, and that's continued here early on in this season. And, this Colts team, the issues, the questions were, how much were they going to score? But when you got Kayshawn Aitchison back there helping out on offense, it's a big factor.
And for the Barrie Colts, also starting to get healthier. Eamon Edgar back in the lineup after that collision with Adam Juracek in the game down in Brantford. He'll be slotted on the 3rd line for the Barrie Colts, along with Alex Asadorian and Nicholas Desiderio. And for Edgar, he scored his first career OHL goal here in this building. We'll see what he can do here, as he was picking it up until that injury.
Yeah, he had a couple of goals, and he really was picking it up. And I think you see all the skill that's there. And look, sometimes it takes for these young guys a little bit just to get adjusted to a new league and new surroundings and new teammates. And, for him, I think he was starting to get comfortable. And unfortunately, he missed, some games there, after that hit in Brantford. But back to the lineup, and hopefully, for the Barrie Colts here, hoping that he picks up where he left off.
Now focusing on tonight's game against the Sudbury Wolves team. This is now the 3rd of 8 meetings this regular season. Last night for Sudbury, they had all the power play opportunities, not able to capitalize. But this is a team you can't overlook. I know Sudbury's the bottom of the Eastern Conference standings, but this is a team that's already beaten the Colts once here at this building.
Yeah, November is Sudbury month, apparently, with all their games against the Wolves this month. But again, look, I've gone over this, and it really doesn't matter where these two teams are in the standings. these two Central Division rivals. It's always usually intense. It's always physical. And like I said, Sudbury proved, the last time, yeah, they're at the bottom of the standings, but they knocked off the Colts. And it really just shows you can't take your foot off the pedal. Colts got the first part of this home and home done. Have to continue that solid play because this Sudbury team, especially if Barrie makes a run to the penalty box again, eventually they're going to bury it.
And the Colts found a way to keep Kieran Walton off the goal scoring sheet last night. 11 goals now in 12 games. He's now second in the OHL in shots with 81. So you know that Walton's hard to keep off the score sheet. And if the Colts defense is going to shut things down here, it's going to start off with Walton up front.
Yeah, I mean, he's just, I can't be more than impressed with this guy each game. Every time I see him, he's so good. And look, I don't know if he's that good just against Barrie, but I've seen him against some other games, and he's just such a huge factor for this young Sudbury club. Obviously, they really look to him to provide the offense. He's a big factor on the power play. It's one of the reasons why they're right up there among the league leaders. 6 going into last night, so it really speaks volumes. And again, he's just a big guy. And look, I mean, you look for your veterans, come back at home tonight after that tough loss, and Sudbury Wills going to need Walton to step up here.
Now, it is a very special night here at the Sudbury Community Arena. It's Shoresy night. I know a lot of people around the Ontario Hockey League talking about this game. They're going to be wearing the Blueberry Bulldogs uniforms on the ice here tonight. And I know there's a few people who are pretty excited just to see this logo. Dylan Smoskowitz, we'll get to the coach's corner in just a moment. I know he's excited about this. It's just such a special night here in Sudbury.
Yeah, I love it. They already had the jerseys out there, and they look beautiful. And, you look around here, there's a lot of fans wearing the old Shoresy jerseys. So some big-time fans here. And obviously the show continues to be a hit, and it's a fun story. And it's great to see the OHL recognizing that and continue that here tonight.
So they do film the show here at the Sudbury Community Arena, so it's quite fitting that we're having Shoresy here tonight. But in the meantime, let's head over to the Coach's Corner, brought to you by Mariposa School of Skating. You can find them inside the Allendale Rec Center in Barrie. We're joined by Barrie Colts head coach Dylan Smoskowitz, and tonight a big night here in Sudbury as they're celebrating Shoresy. Are you a fan of Shoresy? Are you excited about this game?
I'm a massive fan of Shoresy. You've seen all the episodes. Probably watched these seasons twice. So it's cool to see them wearing those jerseys tonight.
Yeah, the Blueberry Bulldogs looking pretty sharp from what I've seen in the images. I know I've got, I think it was the Erie Otters play-by-play guy asking if I could pick him up one. So everyone in the league seems to be pretty excited about this.
Yeah, no, it's a good show. I'm not going to lie. When I saw that it was us playing here on the shores tonight, I got pretty excited. I'm sure the pregame ceremony will be pretty funny. And then as soon as the game starts, it's business as usual, but pretty cool to be a part of it.
And you mentioned last night you guys playing the Sudbury Wolves, so a back-to-back against your big rival here in the Central Division. Coming into this one after a win last night, how much do you change at all to prepare for this matchup?
I don't think we change much. I mean, it's not like you can make that many changes anyways from one game to another. We know what we're good at. We know what we need to focus on. We've done the pre-scout on Sudbury, and we feel pretty confident in our pre-scout. Our coach has done a great job with it. So again, it's just bringing effort. It's out competing. It's out working. It's doing the little things right. So we bring that for 60 minutes tonight. We feel good about our chances.
And last night, Sudbury had 7 power plays, but you guys were perfect, 7 for 7. Obviously, you don't want to be taking too many penalties, but that was a great penalty kill from the group last night.
It was. The group really came together. It's something that we stressed a bunch. Patty Sexton, our PK coach, did a fantastic job getting these guys ready, but we will not be taking 7 penalties again. That just, it just cannot happen. You want to be successful. You want to play winning hockey. It doesn't entail taking 14 minutes in minor penalties. So that's something we spoke about as a group. We'll speak about it again before the game tonight, and we'll be much better with our discipline.
And you mentioned before about the importance of depth scoring. We saw that last night. Bodie Stewart getting his first of the year. So that's a good sign for this group.
Yeah, really good sign. And again, it's not like these guys haven't been getting their chances. As a coach, Dale Howardchuk once told me when I was playing for him here in Barrie that when you're not getting the chances, when I'll be concerned. But as long as you're getting chances, it's just inevitable. They're going to go in for you eventually, and that's exactly what happened. Bodie's been playing well, Sally's been playing well, Des has been playing well. So for those 3 guys to put one in the back of the net and kind of get off the schneid a little bit and keep it rolling tonight was a good sign for the team.
And good sign, Edgar back in the lineup after missing a few games, getting a little more healthy here, which is a good sign.
Yeah, definitely. You never want to miss games, especially Eddie as a young guy. He was really rolling kind of before he got, he he got that hit there and had to sit out for a couple of games, but he had a good week of practice. We're happy to have him back, and he got his first goal of his career in this building, so maybe it's a good feel-good building for him. I know that when I was a player, I always used to like playing in certain buildings, so if that's this building for Eddie, then we're looking forward to watching him play tonight.
And also Hagenbach getting his first OHL starts. It's pretty exciting for him after having a pretty good preseason there.
Yeah, exciting for him, exciting for all of us. The coaches are excited, his teammates are excited. I'm sure he's excited and being a little bit nervous and jittery to start, but our guys will have his back, and he's been doing great ever since he came to us in training camp. He's doing fantastic with Collingwood in the OJ. They've given him a great opportunity there. So to have Hagen getting his first OHL start tonight, it's a great day for the organization.
So that's Barrie Colts head coach Dylan Smoskowitz talking about Hagenbach making his OHL first OHL career start. To note, Bach was on the bike right beside us doing the interview, and he kind of was chuckling a little bit hearing what Dylan had to say. But this is a big step for him. He's been playing with Collingwood in the OJHL, and now making the trek up here to Sudbury to take on this Wolves team.
Yeah, the New York native, and what a night, what a building to do it in, right? There's nothing like the old Sudbury barn to make your OHL debut and give you a feeling what OHL hockey is about. But, again, for the Colts, they've always talked about bringing that third goalie along well, to giving him the experience of practicing with the team. And, Bach's doing that here this season, and now he gets a chance here to make a start. And it's going to be an exciting moment for him and an opportunity. Obviously, the Colts really like, you talked to Marty Williamson, he's really high in the sky coming in. And, so, obviously an opportunity here in his first game.
And I also liked in the interview, when we were talking about the depth scoring, Dylan Smoskowitz brought up Dale Howardchuk and a quote talking about, he mentioned that quote to you yesterday as well, about how, you want to get those chances. And as long as you're getting those chances, you're doing the right thing. And we are seeing that with the Barrie Colts and that depth scoring last night against the Wolves.
That's funny how Dale Howardchuk continues, the legacy continues of what he brought, to those around him. And, look, that's it, right? You got to sort of remain confident. And as long as you get an opportunity, chances, that says something. And eventually it's going to come. And, it can be frustrating a bit that, for like guys like Stewart, they're looking for that first goal, but it's going to come. And like I said, they get that first one and that second one, and then all of a sudden they start coming in bunches. And, I know they say it's a cliche, but it happens more often than not. But, again, I think that's what, as a coach, we try to remain positive with the guys and say, hey, we're getting chances, they're going to come.
So the Colts and the Blueberry Bulldogs, I guess we should be calling them, are now on the ice getting ready for tonight's game for here at the Sudbury Community Arena. This is, like we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, the third of 8 meetings between these two teams. And we'll see how this all plays out. The Barrie Colts obviously wanting to play a more disciplined game after giving up 7 power plays last night. But there's always, whenever these two teams meet, there's going to be a high level of emotion, although it took a while before we started seeing that late in the game where Chase Coughlin started to get a little frustrated late in that hockey game. But give credit to Sudbury staying out of the penalty box for most of that game last night.
Yeah, it was key. Obviously now the Colts got to learn from it tonight, right? Obviously your penalty kill was really good last night, but you can't keep going to that well. This Sudbury, the Waltons, the Villeneuves, the Blondes on the back end, those are guys, talented guys. Give them a chance with the man advantage, and they're normally going to make you pay. The penalty kill has been much better, but got to stay out of the box, and that's going to be one of the key factors here for the Colts tonight.
So we're just a few minutes away from the opening ceremony here for Shoresy Nights. I'm seeing that we've got Wolves fans on the chat here. So just a reminder, we do have the chat open. So if you want to talk about Colts, Wolves, I guess, then you can always put your comments, questions there. But the chat will be open throughout the hockey game. But we're going to take a quick break while they do the ceremony and then the national anthem. And when we come back, we will have puck drop here from the Sudbury Community Arena. Well, we are just about ready to go here for the first period of play between the Barrie Colts and the Sudbury Blueberry Bulldogs Wolves. I know it's a mouthful, but that's what we got here tonight on Shoresy Night. But before we get started, let's go to our starting goaltenders. Brought to you by Craighurst Crossing by Georgian Communities, New Homes Minutes from North Barrie, where inspired living meets small town charm.
Well, let's start with the visiting Barrie Colts. Hagen Bach makes his start. 6'1", 191-pound New York native is making his OHL debut tonight. It's a fourth-round pick in this year's OHL priority selection. Makes the start tonight. And at the other end, Finn Marshall. The Sudbury Wolves gets the nod. 6'2", 180-pound Toronto native. He's making his 10th appearance in the season. 3-5, 0-0 record, 4.52 goals against average, 869 save percentage. How about this, Mike? We got a starting goalie in the 13th round in 2022.
Not too shabby there from Hagenbach. And now our referees tonight, Blake Beer and Drew Jackson. And manning the lines here tonight, David Milne and Kyle Bradley, as we are just about ready to go here from the Sudbury Community Arena. The Wolves wearing their Shoresy jerseys, which will be auctioned off after the game for a good cause. But in the meantime, we'll get this one underway as Blake Clayton will take the draw for Sudbury up against Cole Baudouin of the Barrie Colts. And we will get this one underway momentarily as we're in the middle of a 3-3 for the Barrie Colts. They're off to Sault Ste. Marie tomorrow, but in the meantime, they've got a date here with the Wolves. Face-off won by the Colts. Puck goes deep into their own zone. Kayshawn Aitchison's there. He's going to flip this one to center ice. Puck's bouncing. There to play it is Gonchar for the Wolves. Gardner can't get a stick on it. Sudbury knocks it out to the neutral zone. Clayton inside his own blue line. He's going to drop this one back to Gonchar. Up the middle. Ferran trying to get a skate on it. Kayshawn Aitchison gets it at his own blue line. Colts trying to move this one forward. Stolen there by Crombie. He'll chip this one out to center ice. Gonchar comes up with it for Sudbury. He'll pass that one back. Yules trying to send that one down to Henderson. That got away from him. Bach out of his net to play it. Puck comes around to the near side. Wolves trying to send it towards the net. Bouncing. Henderson can't get a stick on it. Puck's in the far corner. Wolves still putting on pressure here. Aitchison gets the loose puck. That's going to go off the back of the Barrie net. Coran sending it back to the blue line. Villeneuve with some speed. Takes this down low. Takes the shot. Buck got a piece of it. And that's going to sail back into the Sudbury zone. Finn Marshall there to play it as both teams try and make some quick changes here. Long pass entering the zone is Coughlin. He's going to dump it in. Puck goes back behind the Barrie net. Emerson. He'll pass this one forward. Cole Baudouin's got space. Reaches center. Baudouin still with it. Goes to Hemming. Hemming sends it across. Slandra just misses the net. Puck's on the back of the net, and Colts find it. Slander's knocked down by Coughlin, and he's going to move this one up. Villeneuve receives the pass at center. Walton following it up. He'll carry it in for Sudbury. Takes the shot. Kicked aside by Bach. Bach makes another big pad save as Walton has it in the corner. Kieran Walton facing pressure there from Baudouin. Takes the shot. Bach got a piece of it. Colts with possession as Salandra flips this one forward. Taken down there by Odell. Puck's in the neutral zone. Salandra's going to dump this into the Sudbury zone, and then he's dumped by Coughlin. Seeing some physical play early on here from the Sudbury Wolves. Sudbury with possession. Hovan will send this one out to center ice. Berahowski sends it forward. Acidorian will steal that pass. Sends it right back into the Sudbury zone. Marshall guides that to the corner. Desiderio putting it towards the net. Hits the side of the goal. Martin's there to collect it now for Sudbury. He'll put that one off the boards. Puck's bouncing at center. Knocked down by Hovan, but that's going to be an offside call against Sudbury.
Good opportunity early in this one for the Barrie Colts, and Joe Salandra had a goal last night. Next one chance, takes the feed in front and try to elevate up top. It just got a little bit under it, sends it over the top of the net. Early opportunity for Barrie Colts in that line. Salandra's really fit in there nicely with Cole Baudouin and Emil Hemming.
Well, for Salandra, fourth in team scoring with 3 goals, 10 assists, good for 13 points. A great start for Salandra, who finds himself still in that top line. Puck goes behind the Sudbury net. Colts will turn it over as skating this one ahead is Chauvin. Chauvin, near side, Berahowski. Berahowski takes the shot. Bach makes the save. Puck goes to the corner. Another chance. Blue paint in front. Provorov trying to jam it in, but that's blocked by the Colts, and they'll get this one out to center ice. Edgar chips this one into the Sudbury zone. Icing is waved off. Lads will come back to play it here for the Wolves. Liam Lads scored last night, reaches center. He's just going to dump it in. Around the boards, Dissett after it here for Sudbury. Takes the hit from Passmore. Aitchison passes this one ahead. Newton up to Schneid. Schneid has that taken away by Dissett. Lads gets it to the blue line. Wolves get it out. Gonchar with speed into the attacking zone. Has it on the wing. Takes the shot. A save. And he's able to pounce on that before Ethan Dean was able to get a stick on it. As Hagen Bach kept pretty busy here so far in his debut.
Well, nice shot by the young netminder there. Dean was right on the doorstep and able to recover that rebound and get the mid on it. But 3 shots, and for a young goalie, I think that's what you want. You want a couple of shots, and it kind of settles you down a bit. You get into the game, and you remember, hey, this is just a game I know and love, and you settle down a bit, get those butterflies out, make a couple of stops, and he's made 3 of them here early on.
And they've been quick shots, too, from the Wolves entering the attacking zone. They win the faceoff, take it around the net. Dean will send it back to the point. Yules takes the shot. Bach the save. Dissett can't get a stick on it. And Bach's going to cover it up. As a much better jump to their game here tonight from the Sudbury Wolves, which has Barrie a little bit on their heels.
Wolves got that early goal and got off to a good start last night. Again for the Colts. Well, this Sudbury team, like you said, you look at the standings, but here on home ice, they're a completely different team.
Colts send it down the ice. It won't be icing. Crombie gets to it first for Barrie. He's taken to the boards there by Gonchar. Puck's in the corner. Bodie Stewart giving that to Crombie. Crombie back to the blue line. Eliasson keeps this one in play. Near side, Emerton takes the shot. Marshall got a piece of it. Puck goes behind the Sudbury net. Gavin Yules will backhand this one towards the line. Ferran will knock it down the ice. Dean chasing after it. Eliasson will get there, but that's going to be an icing call now against Sudbury, and they'll bring this one back.
Well, Finn Marshall gets a start. He was in net the last time these two teams met. The Wolves won 5-3. And Chartier, you look at last night, and it says 6 goals, but I thought he was fairly sharp. He played fairly well and was out of the lineup. And take it that Ben Arevic will get the start back tomorrow in Sault Ste. Marie.
Yeah, for Chartier, there was one save in particular where he robbed Emil Hemming when the Colts had the power play. It looked like a sure thing, but Chartier made the save to keep the Wolves in that hockey game. But here tonight, it's Marshall as the Colts trying to send it to the net. That's blocked, and they'll take this one out. It's Bennett. Decides to send this back to Gonchar deep in his own zone. Dissett receives the pass. He'll hit the brakes. Dissett up the wing. Ferran chips this one into the Barrie zone. Passmore will come back to play it. Evan Passmore sending this one around. Kayshawn Aitchison now up to Hemming at center ice. Henning sends this one up to Beaudoin. Takes the shots, and Marshall able to make the glove save as the Colts starting to get a little momentum here in this early first period.
Well, again, this top line here early, they spent a lot of time in that Sudbury zone, and he shot from a bit outside there by Beaudoin, but you get the face off in the Sudbury zone. And last night, this line was so good. We'll continue tonight.
Quick shot from Edgar off the draw, just missing that far post. Colts keep it in. Desiderio will send this one around. Near side, Hanser after that loose puck. Wolves knock this one out to center ice. Edgar and Henderson in a battle. Sending it back in the zone is Hanser. Blonda back to play it here for Sudbury. Takes a bump there from Desiderio in the corner. Asadorian there as well. Puck comes back to the point. Justin Hanser trying to play that into the Sudbury zone. Ends up back at center ice. Edgar sending it back to Vader in his own zone. Teague Vader finds Hanser at his own blue line. He's going to skate this one ahead. Hanser dumping it in off the inboards. Edgar after the loose puck. Hits the brakes, sends this one around. Desiderio, far corner. Bump there as he's in a battle with Blake Clayton. Trying to move this one around. Colts with possession. Asadorian digs it free, and that's deflected. Emerton comes off the point. From the half boards, comes back, sends it around. Asadorian collects it here for the Colts. Asadorian, the former Sudbury Wolf, he'll send this out to the center ice. He's going to go off for a change. Eliasson skates this back into his own end. Emerton, from his own blue line, sends this one up. Getting a piece of it there with Schneid. That goes back behind the Sudbury net. Schneid putting on the pressure here on Gonchar. Trying to carry this one out quickly. Forced to come back. Wolves with it. Lads. Gonchar took a hit from Schneid. He was a little slow getting up. Now he's able to play it. Wolves have it deep in their own zone. Now it's Nathan Villeneuve. Villeneuve reaches center ice here for Sudbury, carrying this one in. Villeneuve, that's knocked away. Puck rolls to the corner. Villeneuve sends this one back to the line. Lads with a shot. That's blocked. Getting in the way was Carter Lowe. He's just skating after the loose puck. Carter Lowe into the attacking zone to the net. He's forced around the goal, trying to put it in front. Bumped there by Yules. Villeneuve sending it back to Lads as the Sudbury Wolves will skate this one ahead. After, here's Walton on the wing. Walton's pass is blocked in front, but not able to get a stick there was Coughlin. Chase Coughlin takes the hit from Crombie. Puck will escape the zone. Yules over to Blonda. Blonda chips that one ahead. Hanser takes it away for Barrie. They'll get this one out to center ice. As we're seeing bodies flying now on the far side, Hanser and Coughlin are in a bit of a shoving match. We got a delayed penalty call, and this is coming against the Sudbury Wolves. So the extra attacker on the ice, Kayshawn Aitchison, takes it from behind his own goal up to Cole Beaudoin at the blue line. Beaudoin looking over his shoulder. He's got Barahowski on the forecheck. It is a delayed penalty here against Sudbury. So Cole Emerton will send this one up to Beaudoin. Near side, Aitchison. That one deflected. And now we'll get the call here. It's going to be a roughing penalty against the Sudbury Wolves. And the Barrie Colts getting an early power play, unlike we saw yesterday.
It's going to be Coughlin that goes off, and that collision with Hanser there just inside the blue line. And Coughlin had a burn in his bonnet last night. I mean, I think I saw him mixing up there early on that game with Aitchison and then with Gabriel Eliasson, and he's kind of continued. Just one of those guys that likes to get under your skin, but he's going to get the early gate. This Colts power play, which was good last night, gets an opportunity here early on.
And this Barrie Colts power play brought to you by Frontline Hockey Apparel. You can find them at frontlinehockeyapparel.com. And as you mentioned, they were 2 for 3 on the power play last night against Sudbury. And the power play overall right now, 4th best in the OHL at 27%, while Sudbury's penalty kill 4th at 83.6%.
Barrie, even last night, they had a couple of goals right after the penalties had come to an end. So Colts power play, which is really good. I mean, they've been good for a while now. A little bit of a slow start, but they've just been rolling along here. And that's a team so big in more games, and the Colts looking to capitalize here.
So face-off to the right of Finn Marshall. Face-off won by the Colts along the boards. Emerton trying to send it down low. Went off Hemming, and now the Wolves will clear it out. Bach coming out of his net to play it. Emerton will come back for the Barrie Colts. Emerton's got some space to work with. Passing this one ahead to Aitchison. Across to Beaudoin. That's deflected. Hemming comes up with it, carrying it in here for the Colts. Emil Hemming hits the brakes, goes back to the line. Emerton can't keep it in, and that's going to escape the zone. 1.5 minutes remaining in the power play here for the Colts. Hemming receives the pass. He'll skate this one in. Cole Beaudoin now on his backhand, hits the brakes, sends it in front to Aitchison, can't get it. Gardner to Emerton. Across, finds Hemming. Down low, Beaudoin goes behind the Sudbury net. In front, Aitchison, shot, scores! Kayshawn Aitchison. And he extends his goal-scoring streak now to 6 games.
Well, just unbelievable. And the chemistry between Beaudoin and Aitchison continues. And again, just a guy that you got to be aware of out there on the ice, and the ability to kind of creep up off the point there and watch Beaudoin. Patience. He's got Gardner in front. He's going to, and Aitchison down low into that face-off dot. He slides it in between the pads of Marshall, and the Colts capitalize on that power play.
So Kayshawn Aitchison now 13 goals on the season, and was actually gesturing towards Coughlin, who was in the penalty box. We've seen it in the past. Kayshawn Aitchison says his favorite place to play in the OHL is the Sudbury Community Arena, and he gets another one here tonight. Wolves looking to respond. Gonchar at the point, takes the shot. That's wide of the net. Stewart after the loose puck. He'll get this one up to Crombie. Crombie ahead. Villeneuve will take it away for Sudbury. Up to center ice. Here's Kieran Walton. Walton skates it in for the Wolves. Asadorian trying to knock it off the stick. Ends up behind the Barrie net. Backhand by Villeneuve goes in the air. Puck's loose in the slot. Asadorian finds it. Gets the line not out. Kept in by Lads. Now the Colts get it out. Near side it's Stewart. Stewart hits the brakes. He's going to dump this one in. Crombie tried to get a stick on it. Wolves will move it out. At center, Coughlin over to Walton. Kieran Walton hits the brakes, looks around at the point, takes the shot, deflected, and that's in the net. Nate Villeneuve in front, gets it past block, and the Wolves have tied this game at 1.
Well, that's how you answer right back. And who else but the big veteran, Nathan Villeneuve. Again, the Wolves just get that shot in down low, Walton, and Villeneuve with a deflection in front. Crombie was on top, but Villeneuve able to get that stick on that puck in front. And redirect this one in between the legs of Bach. We're all even.
Well, the Barrie Colts, they were able to keep Walton and Villeneuve off the score sheet last night, but here Villeneuve gets his 5th of the season on the deflection from Kieran Walton. And this game is now tied as Provorov passing this one ahead. Wolves get it out to center. Hanser trying to go back to the Sudbury zone quickly. Puck's bouncing around. Hanser dumping this one in. Marshall out of his net to play it behind the goal. Gives it up to Edgar. Trying to go to Desiderio. Puts it in the crease. But the Wolves able to keep this one out. Govan, he'll send this one forward. Barahowski can't get a stick on it. Martin sends it in for Sudbury. That's going to go around the boards. Far side, Vader. Teague Vader. We'll pass this one up. Desiderio receives the pass. With some speed, Edgar reaches center. He'll send this one deep. Salandra gets the loose puck. It was sitting there at the back of the net. Salandra across finds Aitchison. Fans on it. Stays with it. Trying to tuck it around, and it's in. Kayshawn Aitchison does it again. It's now 2-0 as that puck got away from him and somehow gets it through Finn Marshall.
Well, what a move. I don't know. I think Marshall thought that Aitchison was going to walk around the back of the net, but instead, look at him. Pulls this one back to the forehand. Looks like he's going around the net. Just kind of tucks it in underneath Marshall. And Kayshawn Aitchison just continues this unbelievable run and the ability to just kind of pull that one back. Everybody thought he was going behind the net. Pulls that one back onto the floor and it tucks it in nicely.
Well, he's public enemy number 1 here in Sudbury, as there was a lot of boo birds here after that goal from Aitchison. And it's now 2-1. Aitchison 2 goals already in this hockey game. As we're only halfway through this period. That puck's going to go out of play. They're going to say it was deflected, so no delay of game against the Sudbury Wolves. But what a game for Kayshawn Aitchison. He was ready to play.
8 goals in 6 games. So, Mike, you talked about this being one of his favorite arenas to play at. I mean, Kayshawn loves playing anywhere, anywhere, anytime. And there's always got that smile on his face. He likes to get under his opponent's skin. And what better way to do it with 2 goals here early on and just continues to roll.
And remember, he's a defenseman with 13 goals on the season. Wolves can't get it out. Schneid takes it away back to the blue line. Eliasson couldn't get there in time. Puck will escape the zone. Emerton from his own blue line sends this one ahead. Newton for Lowe. Doesn't get it too far. Taken away by Gonchar. Bennett comes up with it now for Sudbury. He's going to dump this one in near corner. Emerton picks up the loose puck. Backhand pass. That's going to escape the zone. Sending it in is Jules. The puck goes around the boards. Picked up there. Emerton can't hold on to it. Puck's knocked away. Doucette couldn't get a stick on it. Colts turn it over, but we got a penalty call coming. This looks like it's going against the Barrie Colts for too many men on the ice. So the Sudbury Wolves are going to get their first power play of the hockey game.
Opportunity here to come right back for Sudbury. And Colts, a mix up there at the bench. Turning for Sudbury. They responded quickly after that first Aitchison goal. Now another chance here.
So last night, the Sudbury Wolves had 7 power plays and weren't able to capitalize on those chances. But their power play, 8th overall in the OHL at 21%. While Barrie Colts penalty kill, it's improving now 18th at 71.4%. Wolves get it off the draw. Here's Walton. He's going to skate this one around. Still with it, does a lap. Back to the blue line, Blonda. Villeneuve. They'll have possession. He already has 1 goal tonight. Trying to go back to Blonda, blocked by Hemming. Now it gets back to Blonda. He'll keep it in, up to Villeneuve. Nate Villeneuve, that's taken away, and right away, Emil Hemming will clear the zone. 1:34 still to go in this power play for the Sudbury Wolves. Blonda, he'll skate this one up, reaches center, looks back. He had Gardner in the way. Now he gets it over to Walton. Walton enters the zone, but His pocket was picked by Gardner, and the Colts get it out. That puck's just going to roll deep into the Sudbury zone. The Colts changing up the penalty kill unit. Blonda in front of his own net. Had Gardner in the way. Now he'll drop it back. Walton has to skate back for it. Kieran Walton now picks up momentum through the neutral zone. Walton hits the brakes. Gardner reaching in. Blonda to Villeneuve. Villeneuve across. Bouncing there on Walton. Can't get the shot, and the Colts will clear it. Power play for Sudbury now down to 51 seconds as Villeneuve comes back to pick it up. Villeneuve dropping it back as he's going to go off for a change. Blonda now behind his own net as Sudbury tries to regroup. Power play now down to 40 seconds. Provorov skates it up. Provorov, he'll dump that one into the far corner. Coughlin gives chase. He'll send it back to the blue line. It's bouncing. Gonchar giving this one up. Here's Bennett. Back to Gonchar. Near side Provorov. Takes their shot. Blocked by Passmore. He got a glove on it. Puck's in the corner. Barahowski trying to play it in the corner. As Edgar about to come out of the penalty box here. Schneid's going to clear the zone. That goes right on net. Marshall's going to play that to the corner. Barahowski back for the Sudbury Wolves. Gonchar ahead for Coughlin. Coughlin on the far side. He'll send this one deep. Emerton's there for the Colts. Back behind the net. Power plays come to an end. In front, backhand, stopped by Bach. That was Bennett with the drive. That puck's going to go back behind the Colts net. Barahowski is there, loses the handle of it. Edgar collects the loose puck for Barrie, reaches center ice. Even Edgar, he'll skate this one in. He's taken down, and that's going to be a penalty against Sudbury. Bit of a delayed call here as Eamon Edgar was just skating in. He was hauled down, so that's going to be a power play again for the Barrie Colts.
Well, I think it's going to be Chase Coughlin again, who's claiming he got his stick caught in, but you see there, hook around the front of Edgar and sends him to the ice. And Barrie already 1-for-1. That Aitchison goal in the early power play. Get another opportunity here to add to the lead.
This Barrie Colts power play brought to you by Frontline Hockey Apparel. You can find them at frontlinehockeyapparel.com. We got the faceoff now to the right of Finn Marshall. Cole Bode went out to take the draw against Nate Villeneuve. Villeneuve's actually going to be tossed out of the faceoff dot. So in steps Rowan Henderson. Scrambled draw. Wolves get a stick on it. Colts, however, get it to the blue line. Emerton, Aitchison, one-timer scores! K-Sean Aitchison, 3 goals this period. It's now 3-1.
Unbelievable. The natural hat trick by K-Sean Aitchison is starting this game. And I mean, I don't think that puck was on his stick more than a split second. I mean, he just hammered that thing, and he had it all teed up on the pass across from Passmore, from Emerton. And Aitchison point yet Chase Coughlin, come out of the box. You're okay now.
Oh my goodness.
Having some fun, but how about K-Sean Aitchison just continues to roll 9 goals in 6 games now. Talk about red hot.
Well, the Sudbury Wolves are also making a goalie change as Leonard now in the net. But we now have a penalty call coming against the Barrie Colts. A lot happening all at once. Right now we got Passmore having some words there with one of the Sudbury players. That's Ferran. But now Sudbury, they're going to go on the power play here.
Barrie now 2 for 2 on the power play, and Wolves coming up with their second power play opportunity. But my, oh my, K-Sean Aitchison, what a start to this season.
So now, just so we can catch up with everything, after K-Sean Aitchison made it 3-1, Finn Marshall pulled after allowing 3 goals on 5 shots. So in comes Owen Leonard. He has a record of 1-2-1. And comes as the Wolves go on the man advantage here. Colts clear it. Puck's at center ice. Blonda from in front of his own net. Reaches his own blue line near side. Govan sends this one back to Villeneuve. Villeneuve deep in his own zone again as they try and regroup, settle things down a bit. Kieran Walton gets that loose puck. Walton skates it up, and then Villeneuve cross-checks Cole Boatman in the back. A very undisciplined play, and now he's going off. So much for the power play as the Sudbury Wolves kind of falling apart, and it's just the first period.
Well, totally unnecessary there. And watch Villeneuve just kind of wraps himself, and then there's nothing. A little hit behind on Baudouin, and you just don't need that. Won't wipe out this power play.
And we were talking about in the pregame how the Sudbury Wolves have been playing some more disciplined hockey. They haven't been going to the penalty box as regular. And here tonight, down 3-1, seeing Kayshawn Aitchison with a hat trick. And this team getting a little more undisciplined. So face off deep in the Sudbury zone, 4-on-4 hockey for a minute 23. Kieran Walton will give that one ahead to Yules. Yules in a battle there with Asadorian. Far side, knocks that one free. Gonchar comes up with it. Gonchar, though, has that taken away. Salandra gets that one to the corner. Joe Salandra with possession for the Colts. From the corner, goes back to the blue line to Justin Hanser. Hanser with possession, takes the shot. That's blocked in front as Yules will get this one out. Ferran receives the pass, but that's picked off by Aitchison. What a game tonight from Kayshawn Aitchison, or should I say, what a period by Kayshawn Aitchison. Hanser has it back behind his own net. 45 seconds until Evan Passmore comes out of the penalty box, and then it'll be a brief power play for the Colts. As Hanser sends this one deep, Ferran will get to it here for Sudbury. Ferran ahead to Yules. Yules across, finds Walton. Kieran Walton decides to peel back. Didn't like what he sees from his own blue line. Walton still with it, trying to stick handle his own way into the attacking zone. Walton down low, goes around the Colts net. Doesn't take the shot. Now he will, and Bach makes the save. Emerton taking it back behind his own net. Here's Calvin Crombie now. Crombie crosses the blue line through center. Over to Bodie Stewart. Stewart on his backhand. That shot blocked by Blonda. Crombie trying to send it back behind the Sudbury goal. Ends up in the corner. Coughlin can't hold on to it. The power play now underway for the Barrie Colts. Brought to you by Frontline Hockey Apparel. Barrie already 2 for 2 on the power play. This is going to be abbreviated. 20 seconds remaining. Lads carries it in for Sudbury. Lads takes the shot, blocked the save. Rebound picked up by Stewart. Stewart trying to peel back. He has Coughlin all over him. Picked up here by Vader. Vader will send this one back to Emerton. Emerton has to be careful. He's got Coughlin there again. Colts can't get it out of the zone, and there goes the power play for the Barrie Colts. We still have 4:10 remaining in the first period. 3-1 for the Barrie Colts. 3 goals from Kayshawn Aitchison, and then 1 from Nate Villeneuve. Salandra chips this deep into the Sudbury zone. 4 minutes left in the period. Odell sends it around. Villeneuve. He'll pick it up now for Sudbury. Back behind his own net. Villeneuve loses it to Baudouin in front. Hemmings! Stopped by Leonard. What a chance there to extend the lead, but Leonard with a huge save. Villeneuve sends it back into his own zone. Odell across to Yules. Yules gets this one ahead, knocked down at center by Salandra. Villeneuve sends this into the Barrie zone. Passmore runs over Villeneuve at center ice. Still seeing a lot of physical play as Provorov keeps it down low. Coughlin trying to put it out in front, but Hagenbach will cover it up. And now we've got Coughlin trying to entice Gabriel Eliasson to drop the gloves. As this Sudbury Wolves team just very frustrated here as this first period goes on.
Well, this is a continuation from last night. Chase Coughlin, he was going at it first with Aitchison and then Eliasson later in the stages there. And he's already gone off to the box a couple of times, and Kayshawn Aitchison taking advantage. Like we talked about a period for Aitchison, but it's already been a game for Kayshawn Aitchison in this first period.
It's just unreal what Kayshawn Aitchison has been able to do here tonight, chasing Finn Marshall out of the net. Owen Leonard now comes in, and Barahowski, who's filling in on the head coaching duties for tonight for the Sudbury Wolves, just trying to get his team to settle down here and try and get back into this one.
Well, we're going to have to bring Coughlin a bit under wraps right now, just a bit heated, and he can't be going to the box, and not the way Aitchison is going in this Colts power play. Is firing already with a couple here tonight.
So the faceoff will come back to the left of Hagenbach. Asadorian taking the draw against Provorov. It's a rugby scrum for it. Provorov sending it back to Lads. He's shot, stopped by Bach. Rebound goes to the boards. Bovan is there. Passmore tied up with Barahowski as they extend some slashes. Passmore sends it around the boards. Desiderio trying to chip it out of the zone. That was blocked. Chasing up to it is Eliason. Provorov will pick it off at center ice. Sends that one ahead. Passmore out to center ice. Taken away by Provorov. Provorov sends this one back to Lads. His pass picked off by Asadorian. He's going to send it right back into the Sudbury zone as the Wolves pick it up. It's knocked out to center. Vader takes the hit from Barahowski. Puck rolls into the Barrie zone. Asadorian's there to collect it. Desiderio collects the loose puck for the Colts. He'll reach center ice. Nicholas Desiderio skates it in for Barrie. Backhand. That misses the net. Vader on the far side. Down to Desiderio. Loose puck picked up by Edgar. Edgar goes to Hanser. Justin Hanser along the boards. Then we'll go behind the net. Quick shot by Jaden Newton. Leonard can't find it. Now he'll cover it up. As Jaden Newton getting a quick release, but the Wolves goaltender able to hold on.
What a nice job there by Newton. Kind of parked at the side of the net, and that one almost found the short side. Leonard kind of lost it for a bit, finally able to get the mid on it. But what a start for the Barrie Colts, and what a difference from the last time they were at this rink here in this first period. I mean, much better job staying out of the box, and some guy named Keyshawn Aitchison has stepped up.
Colts get another shot on goal, turned aside by Leonard. Far side, Colts keep it in. That's Vader. Puck's bouncing to the Sudbury blue line. They get it out to set on the wing. He'll dump it in. Back behind his own net is Bach. Bach sends this one around. Newton can't get a stick on it. Dean with the shot. Bach gets the blocker on it. Schneid across. Newton had it there for a moment. Blonda from his own blue line sends this one forward. Bennett giving it up to Dean. Dean has that knocked off his stick. Puck rolls to the far corner. Dean's knocked down. Fans want a penalty. None coming. Puck comes the near side. Keyshawn Aitchison. He'll flip this one out to center ice. Martin chasing after it. Lowe gets a stick on it first. Carter Lowe bumps Blonda off the puck. Schneid follows it up. William Schneid along the boards. Martin trying to tie him up. Sends it back behind his own net. But there's Brad Gardner for the Colts. Backhand. That got away from him. Dean collecting it here for Sudbury. Reaches center. He's going to go off for a change. Bodie Stewart collecting it now for the Colts. We're approaching the final minute of the first period. 3-1 Barrie. Calvin Crombie skating this one in, weaving his way through, takes the hit. As delivering that check was Walton. Walton, he'll skate this one in for the Sudbury Wolves. Walton hits the brakes, looks back to the point to Villeneuve. His shot stopped by Bach as there was a crowd in front. And of course, now we got Coughlin and Aitchison going nose to nose after the whistle. As these two just have an ongoing feud between one another.
This continues. You know, you talked about for a bit last night how about how it wasn't as chippy. Well, you play two games within a few hours of each other, and all of a sudden, everything that happened last night, that game went along, got chippy. It carries on tonight. And Coughlin, I mean, he's been busy with everybody. Aitchison, Eliason, continues here tonight.
He's just trying to rile everybody up in this hockey game, and right now his team down by 2. As that faceoff will have to be redone. The puck went out of play. Villeneuve will take the draw here against Cole Baudouin. It's to the right of Bach. So Linesman gets a new puck. We get play back underway with 54.9 seconds left here in the first period.
I think Coughlin was watching a few episodes of Shoresy today when he got home.
That must have been his inspiration. Here's Villeneuve passing it to Walton. Walton has it knocked away. Odell with a shot. Bach the save. Right now, Keyshawn Aitchison's on top of Chase Coughlin. Coughlin's upset because he thought there should have been a holding penalty. And the fans also giving their opinions as Coughlin quite animated with the official.
Well, two collide just in front of the Barrie net. I was surprised that somehow they come together on the ice.
They seem to have a magnets. They're always finding one another when they're both on the ice. So 40 seconds left here in this first period. We'll do this draw again to the right of Hagenbach. Baudouin now taking the draw against Clayton. Wolves win it back. Here's Odell. Takes the shots, and that's deflected out of play. And we'll do this face-off all over again. But now we're down to 35 seconds.
Or just, you get these back-to-back games in two Central Division rivals, and it's no surprise already heating up here early. And well, what a story, Aitchison and Coughlin. I mean, Coughlin a couple of times in the box, and Aitchison let them know, hey, you can come out now. I can't believe that one after he scored a goal.
And we still have 2 periods to go between these two teams, and that shot deflected. Bach can't cover it up. That one got out of his reach. Colts get this one to center ice. After it is Henderson for the Wolves, back in his own zone. Rowan Henderson chips this one off the boards. Moran couldn't get there in time. Colts take it back the other way. Here's Hemming, 15 seconds. His shot kicked aside by Leonard. Clayton able to get to that rebound, puts this one around. Picked up by Odell. Odell up the wing. Moran tried to chip it in the zone. Puck was just sitting there. Salandra finds it. His shot off the knee of Odell. And that will do it for a wild first period. But now we get some pushing and shoving after the buzzer. As we've got Odell tying up Hemming, who's got Clayton in a headlock. And Gabriel Eliasson, no surprise, he's involved too. And I'm sure we're going to get at least a couple of penalties out of this. But for the Sudbury Wolves, this is a period that just got away from them. And Kayshawn Aitchison, basically the one in charge here in this hockey game.
Just an unbelievable start for the veteran defenseman and first-round pick of the New York Islanders. And well, again, Aitchison, trying to help out his buddy, get him out of the box and back on ice there. He's scoring early, but well, what a start for Kayshawn Aitchison again here tonight. I mean, red hot, comes in tonight, 6 goals in his last 5. Well, I think he'll score a first period natural hat trick just to add to it.
Why not? And also coming into tonight, he was number 1 in the OHL in power play goals with 6. So now he's got 8 power play goals this season. He's just munching up those goals right now and padding the stats and frustrating his opponents.
And he's doing it in so many different ways. I mean, we saw that one-timer there that he likes getting down into the low dot. And then again, he's not afraid to come off, pinching off that point. And, he's just, he's in the right place at the right time. Obviously, we've seen that a couple of times, but it's just his ability to score in so many different ways.
So Kayshawn Aitchison definitely making his presence known in this hockey game tonight with that hat trick. 3-1 now for the Barrie Colts. And we're just going to take a quick break as Josh McCann, he's joined us on this road trip once again. And before the game, had a chance to catch up with Emil Hemming, who returned from the Texas Stars. And he's returned in a big way. So Josh McCann will catch up with his interview here on the broadcast.
Joined by Colts forward Emil Hemming. Emil, you've just returned from the AHL last week. What was that experience like, and what's it like being back here in Barrie?
It was a good experience. Learned to play a little bit pro. The small things matter a lot. So, I think it helped a lot when I came back here, and just try to help this team, and show the hunger that I want to go back up there. So, it's been fun for this time. So, just keep it going here. The team is right now in a good mood. So, everything's good right now.
And when you were in the AHL, you got the opportunity to play alongside Tristan Bertucci, who was here in Barrie last year. Did it make it easier having a guy that you'd already played with in the AHL?
Of course it does help you a little bit when a couple teammates from last year, so you can talk to them. So I think it helped a lot. We had each other there, so it was obviously a help for me.
What was it like? Was there anyone at Dallas Stars camp that you met that was really cool to see?
Well, of course, stars like Segway and Ben, these guys. And, I trained back home with Mikko Rantanen, so he helped me a lot during the summer, too, with everything with the game. So, I'm trying to look after him up on the ice right now and, just try to look what he does on the ice. It's pretty amazing to see him do the things he's doing. So, obviously, it's always nice to get to see the big players, always how they practice and do everything. So, just trying to do everything they do. So,
Was it easier having some other Finnish players there as well?
Of course it does help a lot when you have a Finnish guys. You can talk a little bit Finnish, and they played earlier a lot of games there, so they know how it's played there. So, they help me a lot with the things that matter a lot here. So, it's a big help for me.
Now, since you've returned to Barrie, you've been lighting it up alongside Cole Baudouin and Joe Salandra. How easy was it to get the chemistry back with Baudouin and create that with Salandra, a guy you've never played before?
Salandra is a young kid, he's hungry, getting the points, but I feel like me and Kobo just been, both are hungry to play in the NHL and, show the teams that we could play there already. But yeah, I mean, just hard work, nothing comes easy. That's like that motivates us three to go here and help the team, obviously, to win because we're in the top line. So yeah, we need to score the goals and help the team here. So yeah, I mean, it just feels, I think the chemistry is really good there with our line there. So yeah, just keep it going here.
Well, Emil, thanks for doing this. Best of luck tonight.
Yeah, thank you.
So we're about 10 minutes away from the start of the second period between the Colts and the Wolves. As that was a quite the eventful first period. We saw both teams getting power play opportunities. The Sudbury Wolves getting another two power plays here tonight on top of the 7 yesterday. Yet to capitalize on their man advantage, but special teams for the Barrie Colts 2 for 3 in that first period. They're getting the job done right now.
Well, they continue to be very good. Obviously, the power play, but the penalty kill as well. As I have noticed last night, first couple of times the Wolves had the puck pretty much well in the Colts zone, but after that they got better, and they've continued that again here tonight. Not a lot of zone time on those 2 power plays for Sudbury. Of course, the one ended early, but you know, again, the specialty teams have been big, and Kayshawn Aitchison's been a big part of that, obviously.
Yeah, that's now 8 power play goals on the season for Kayshawn Aitchison, leads the OHL in that category. So just something to see here with this Barrie Colts team. And just a reminder, we do have the chat open as we're already seeing some comments there. We got a couple of Wolves fans who are on there. Apparently there's a fan in the stands that can see us from down below. And then Braden mentioning Kayshawn Aitchison with that first period hat trick. I wish I had the numbers in front of me. I'd be curious, when was the last time a Barrie Colt had a hat trick like that in an opening frame?
And an opening frame, I mean, yeah, you wonder.
That's
I mean,
crazy.
To go back, trying to rack my memory here, but it's mighty impressive. And Kayshawn Aitchison, I always kid with him after the game. I said, look, sorry, I got to talk to you again, and you keep doing this. You keep standing out and having big times. He has a big chuckle about that. But again, another strong start here tonight. And the antics. Look, he feeds off it. He feeds off the crowd. He's just a guy that loves to play the game, and you see that each and every night. And for a team that, went through that 6-game losing streak, and you look for your big guys, your big guns to pick it up, and Kayshawn Aitchison just continued again, just this goal scoring streak. And like I said, he's been doing it in so many different ways as well.
Yeah, it's impressive too. The one-timer, which is a Kayshawn Aitchison classic, but the move that he made on Finn Marshall, he kind of lost the handle of the puck there for a moment. It looked like he was just going to take that puck around the net, but he caught Marshall, who was also expecting that, and tucked it in through the 5-hole. So it just that creativity that he brings at both ends of the ice is quite remarkable.
Yeah, and he plays this game with so much confidence, and you see that. And that's what happens. You see these young guys, they find their way into the league, and then all of a sudden, they become just dominant players. And that's what Kayshawn Aitchison is in the OHL right now. Just a dominant defenseman back there. And in so many ways that he can impact the game, be it physically, defensively, and then, we're seeing the offense right now. And, for a team, like you said, that's looking for scoring, you get that kind of production out of the back end. I mean, that's certainly a big help.
So we're going to take a quick look around the rest of the OHL because it's a busy Friday night. First off, down in Erie, the Otters trailing the Ottawa 67s by a score of 2-0. Big news today coming out of Ottawa. City Council approving the construction of the new Lansdowne 2.0 project. So we could probably talk a bit about that a little later on. Down in Flint, the Firebirds of the North Bay Battalion, they are tied at 1. That's at the end of the first period. Also at the end of the first, the Kitchener Rangers up 3-1. They're also getting healthier. Elenis and Vermeulen back in the lineup. So the Rangers expect them to pick things up. In London, the Frontenacs right now up 1-0 on the Knights. They're on a very tough road trip right now. They were in Windsor last night, lost 3-0. The Brantford Bulldogs, they're up 2-0 on the Oshawa Generals. Sarnia up 2-1 on the Brampton Steelheads. And of course, one more game, the Sioux Greyhounds trailing the Guelph Storm by a score of 1-0. And for the Barrie Colts, they're going to be making that trip to Sault Ste. Marie tomorrow. So it's a busy night around the OHL, and seeing some of those scores, it's busy, but that's the OHL. You never know what you're going to get.
Yeah, always great stories and always great action. And, you talk about Kitchener getting healthier. That's already a pretty good hockey team. And, Flint playing some good hockey. And for Kingston, that early lead there. And it's a team that's really struggled of late. Good to see them get on top here on the road.
So Thomas is saying, did you guys catch what Aitchison was motioning at with his hand on the first goal? Big fan of the show. Thank you, Thomas. And it looked like he was motioning to Coughlin, who was in the penalty box. You caught it. He's just saying, hey, you can come on out now. He scored the power play goal. But that's Kayshawn Aitchison to a T. He embraces the villain role when he comes into barns like this.
Well, Aitchison thinking of his friend there saying, hey, you went in the box. I don't want you to sit there for long, so come on out. I can get you out here early on. And, that's Kayshawn Aitchison. It's part of his game. And, he's a character, and he's just one of those guys that, again, you hate to play against, but you love him when he's on your side. And right now for the Barrie Colts, he's just delivering in so many ways. But again, I mean, just seeing this guy's development. You come back, he had a good camp with the Islanders, get sent back, and just the right attitude. And he's one of the co-captains, and that meant a lot to him. And I think for him, is he wants to be a leader. He wants to be a guy that takes that role seriously, and he's certainly providing that kind of leadership here.
Now, we're only a quarter of the way through this regular season, but if you're a Colts fan, you're enjoying what you're seeing with Kayshawn Aitchison right now, but in the back of your mind, you're thinking, will he be back next year? Just with the way he's playing, does he move up to the New York Islanders, or does he go to Bridgeport? Because the NHL has that new collective bargaining agreement where every NHL team is allowed to have one 19-year-old on their AHL roster, and Kayshawn Aitchison might be a worthy candidate for the Islanders.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, whether he makes the jump to the Islanders, that young team, Matthew Schaefer's truck's got off to a great start, and a lot of great young players on that Islanders team. But even in the American Hockey League, when you look at a physical, the physicality, he can take that, right? He can play at that level. I mean, that's always a big question for the guy stepping up, and and again, if he continues to be this dominant, it's hard to not, to see him not playing professional hockey next season.
And Rob saying, I think he was motioning for fans to rain the ice with hats for the hat trick. There's that as well with the fans, but he's a character. I didn't notice any hats from our vantage point, but that is a possibility, Rob.
No, it's not surprising with Sudbury fans, right? I think they were looking to throw something, but I don't think it was the hats.
I don't know if it was the hats.
But I mean, the history here with Kayshawn Aitchison in this rink, and look, it's great. He's a character, and it's all part of his game as well. Yes, and again, I mean, he plays the game with such fun out there, and he's always smiling out there. And I think part of it, he likes to get under the skin of his opponents, and he does it quite well. And whether it's a big time hit or a big time offensive start like he had here, but certainly the Sudbury Wolves are going to be paying attention to him in this second period.
Well, it's going to be fascinating to see how the Sudbury Wolves respond with Drake Barahowski in this first intermission, because one player really threw off their team. Kayshawn Aitchison riling them up, getting the hat trick against them. You've got Coughlin chasing players. Villeneuve with that terrible cross-check at center ice on Cole Beaudoin. You just see that frustration building. And, for Sudbury, if they're going to get back into this hockey game, they have to play like we saw yesterday when the game was a little more closer in those first two periods.
Yeah, you have to keep your cool. Look, I mean, they're looking to, get back in. You had a power play opportunity. Look, you answered right back after that first goal, and you need to kind of get going. Your power play's been pretty good this year. You got an opportunity here to come right back, and you take a bad penalty at center ice. From a veteran as well, you don't want to see that.
So the players coming back on the ice, Joe Salandra will be in the penalty box to start the second period. There was that scrum at the buzzer, so he was issued the roughing penalty. So the Sudbury Wolves going right back on the power play, and we'll see what they can do here. This is going to be a big period right now for the Sudbury Wolves to try and get back into this hockey game. Right now down by a score of 3-1, but we'll see what's in store here. As Sudbury having a very frustrating first period. You could tell with the way Coughlin was chasing everybody, Villeneuve getting involved too. And it's going to take a little bit, I think, for this maybe Wolves to settle down a bit, but a great opportunity as they're going on the man advantage. And as we get ready for the second period, this has been a theme for the last three road games where we bring in Josh McCann to do the color commentary. I guess you were in a section with the kids and they had a 6-7 video and you said everyone went crazy?
There was mayhem for the second half of the period. I mean, there was a baby throwing its soother.
What?
I don't know what was happening, but I'm happy to be up in the safety of the press box, though we should warn people that the last time you guys let me go on color, everyone just started fighting on the ice all periods. So.
Well, that was the game down in Brantford where the Barrie Colts, again, they were up 3-1 in that hockey game. And, yeah, things just fell apart in that game with all the fights. We nearly have the Igorov going after Harabik and whatnot. But we'll see what's in store here. But this is a Sudbury Wolves team that they're going to start playing some desperate hockey, and we'll see how they perform here getting into the second period.
Well, if you remember back to last season when these two teams played a back-to-back, the first game was a tight overtime game that the Barrie Colts won, but The second game was at the Sudbury Arena, and the Colts dominated that one, winning 8-1. So Sudbury definitely wanting to get things going here in the second period. Hagenbach was strong, stopping 12 of 13. So Sudbury had their opportunities, but not able to capitalize on them.
So the second period underway. The Wolves winning this face-off. I almost called them the Bulldogs. They're wearing their Shoresy jerseys, the Blueberry Bulldogs. But power play underway. Ferran sending this one across. As the Wolves will send this one around the boards. Ferran got a skate on it. Walton turns it over to Hemming, and right away, he's going to send this one down the length of the ice. Blonda back to pick it up here for Sudbury. At his own blue line, drops it back to Walton. Kieran Walton reaching center ice. He's going to skate this one in for the Wolves. Aitchison reaching for it. Walton sends it back to the line. Knocked down by Villeneuve. Blonda on the near side. Couldn't control the first pass. Second attempt deflected as getting a stick on it there was Hovan. Hovan from the corner. Will take his time. Takes a hit there from Eliason, and the Colts dig it free and just clear it. A little surprised Jan Hovan was taking his time there deep in the Barrie Colts zone. Blonda skating this one in for Sudbury, passing it across. Ferran can't get to it, and Colts get it to the line. Not out, kept in by Walton. Chauvin getting it again in the corner. This time plays it back to Walton. Blonda at the far point. Goes to Villeneuve. Villeneuve dropping this back, but that's going to go all the way back into the Sudbury zone as Wolves having some difficulties getting things going on this power play, which is now down to 40 seconds. Luca Blonda going for a skate, reaches center ice. Blonda now enters the zone, backhands around the boards. Hands are in the corner. He'll play it for the Colts. Back to Emerton. Emerton passing it to Lowe, and he's just going to clear it down the ice. Colts keeping things simple right now on this penalty kill. As the Wolves forced back into their own zone, Gonchar comes out from behind the net. Passing this one forward, skating it up. Bennett, he's going to dump it in. Around the boards it goes. Schneid, first one on it. Puts it back behind his own net. There's Bennett. 6 seconds left in the power play at the point. There's the shot. Provorov puts it wide. Puck goes to the corner, and that's it for the power play for Sudbury. They're now 0 for 3. Salandra's out of the box, receives the pass at center ice. 3-on-1. Salandra waits, fires, and Leonard able to make that save as Joe Salandra just waiting in that neutral zone, trying to get that breakaway pass.
Well, not what the Wolves wanted there. I mean, they're 0 for 10 over the last 2 nights against a penalty kill, but you should probably have at least 3-4 goals on it. You have 10 opportunities. Barrie Colts power play, or penalty kill, has really struggled this season, and the Wolves have basically just let them over the last 2 days get their penalty kill solved.
Well, I always find at the start of a period, it's a little more challenging to get the power play going. And I almost wonder if that was a factor here for Sudbury, as the passes just weren't connecting, and Colts just keeping things simple. Let's look at the faceoff back in the Sudbury zone. Scramble draw. Wolves come up with it. Ewells sends this one ahead. It's knocked down by Crombie. Crombie has it knocked away. Puck goes to the slot. Clayton sends it ahead. Passmore at the point. Puck's bouncing on him. Gardner at the point. He'll send this one around, but that makes contact with the netting, and we'll get a whistle.
For Sudbury, one of their issues right now, not a lot of depth scoring out of them. I mean, Nathan Villeneuve and Kieran Walton are getting most of the opportunities, and in the OHL, Walton has the second most points or percentage of points on his team at 17.6%. Villeneuve's fifth at 15.74%. So outside of them, there really isn't anything going on for this Wolves team this year.
Yeah, they had such a slow start to the season and really didn't start picking it up until Villeneuve and Walton rejoined the lineup. Now it's Ethan Dean carrying it in. He's taken down. Looks like he may have stepped on the puck. His Gardner will send it back behind his own net. Henderson gives chase. Back to the blue line. Gonchar waits. He'll skate this one ahead. Gonchar with the shot. That's going to go over the net. Sail back to the point. Lads can't keep it in. Lads trying to settle it down. Turns it over to Bodie Stewart. Stewart enters the zone. He's bumped there by Clayton. It doesn't go far. Henderson's going to send it back the other way. Dean at center ice. Dumps this one into the Barrie zone. Hands are after the loose puck. Henderson gets to it first, however. Dean trying to dig this one free. Loose puck picked up by Crombie. That pass goes off Villeneuve. Crombie again, up to Desiderio. Desiderio loses the handle of it. Sends this one into the zone. Villeneuve back the other way. Finds Walton. Leaves it there for Villeneuve. He's got speed into the attacking zone. Villeneuve trying to go up the middle. That's knocked away. Villeneuve puts it in front. That's taken away by the Colts. Aitchison up to Hanser. Justin Hanser finds Edgar at center ice. Eamon Edgar back to Desiderio. Newton waits, fires, and puts that one over the net and out of play. As this line getting a little crafty there as they were entering the zone.
Well, this is the last time we were here. It was when Eamon Edgar scored his first career OHL goal. It was also Edgar's first night on the third line. He'd been playing a lot of fourth line minutes, but that night he got his promotion, and since then he's been playing some really great hockey.
And it's also great just to see Edgar back in the lineup after he had that collision in the game down in Brantford with Juracek and just needed some time to regroup. And now he's healthy, which is some great news here for the Barrie Colts. Right now, just waiting for Sudbury to complete a late line change. Let's look at this face-off now to the right of Owen Leonard. Baudouin here to take the draw up against Clayton. Face-off won by the Colts. Cole Baudouin back to Eliasson. Eliasson waits, sends this one around the boards. Asadorian behind the net. From the corner, back to Emerton. Emerton to Eliasson. Doesn't take the shot. Now he will. Blocker saved by Leonard. Hemming, knocked down by Yules, gets right back, finds that loose puck. Sends this one over to Baudouin. Baudouin has his pocket picked by Clayton, and the Wolves get this one out. Anderson up at the ice, but that's knocked away by Hemming. Baudouin takes the hit. We'll send this one ahead. Hemming trying to settle it down. Puck's bouncing. Odell gets this one out to center ice. Emerton chasing after it. Loose puck, Ferran dropping this one back and taking it away as the Barrie Colts are going to come back up the ice. Asadorian on the far wing. Alex Asadorian hits shots, and that goes into the glove of Leonard, and he's able to hold on to it.
Bit of a different look there, seeing Asadorian up on the top line with Baudouin and Hemming.
Well, Alex Asadorian, so far this season, 2 goals, 10 assists, 12 points coming into this game. You kind of thought maybe for Asadorian, just what we've seen when he was with Niagara and Sudbury, just the amount of goals he was able to produce, still not able to find that groove yet with Barrie.
Yeah, it's been very surprising. Really all he seems to be able to get is assists so far, and maybe as the season goes on, the goal scoring will come, and that'd be a pretty big for Colts offense.
Well, he does bring that speed as Carter Lowe takes the shot. That's going to go wide of the net. Walton inside his own blue line, passes it across. Coughlin gets a stick on it. Vader blocks the dumping attempt. Puck ends up back at center. Blonda is going to take it back into his own zone. Luca Blonda up to Kieran Walton. Walton. We'll go back to Blonda. Wolves trying to regroup here. Walton has that nearly taken away. Great work here. Walton going to the net. Trying to go backhand across. Taken away by Aitchison as he was trying to set up Nate Villeneuve. Aitchison up ahead. Knocked down by Edgar out to center ice. Wolves with possession. Here's Villeneuve again. He'll skate this one in for Sudbury. Tying that toe drag to the net. Shot scores! Nate Villeneuve. As he kind of handcuffed Hagen Bach. And this game is now 3-2.
What a move there by Nathan Villeneuve. And Sudbury Wolves have their top line stacked up. Villeneuve, Walton, and Coughlin. And coming through the middle, able to dangle around Vader, and then Aitchison and Schneid are too far to the outside to catch up to him, and he's able to beat Bach for his second of the night. This Wolves team with their top line of Villeneuve, Walton, and Coughlin, I mean, those are their top 3 guys in points, and they're going to need them stepping up and in big time if they want to get back in games.
Well, that's just it. If Sudbury's going to get back into this hockey game, they need to get that top line going, and they get just that as Nate Villeneuve, second of the night, now 6 goals on the season, as it's a 3-2 score. Verahowski takes the hard hit from Eliasson. Puck goes into the Barrie zone. Anzer picking it up here for the Colts. Up ahead, Stewart loses it. Provorov takes the shot as Bach is able to make that glove save. And we're starting to see a little bit more momentum now from Sudbury.
Colts almost handed them a goal there. Big hit by Gabriel Eliasson. Takes down Barahowski. The puck goes in the zone, and his hands tries to get it to Bodie Stewart. It just flips over his stick to Provorov, who was wide open, but Hagenbach making a nice save there.
Well, Provorov still looking for his first career OHL goal, but was denied by Bach, who's making his OHL debut. And now we've got a scrap in the corner. Gabriel Eliasson dropping the gloves at Doucette. Doucette with that right makes contact, but now Eliasson with that right free. He's got the reach. Doucette trying to stay in this one. Doucette takes off the helmet of Eliason. Eliason getting frustrated, gets that right going to connects with the side of the head, and Eliason taking control now. Doucette trying to hold on, covering his head. Doucette, he is leaking as Eliason just wrestles Doucette down, trying to take him to the ice. He will, as he's kind of ragdolling Doucette now. But what a scrap. Doucette, a lot of blood there. But my, oh my, this rivalry alive and well.
Well, we may need like a 10-minute delay to clean up all the blood between the two of them. That was like a war.
Well, they're both bleeding. You can see the forehead of Gabriel Eliason.
Well, once Eliason took over, or really after Doucette took off his helmet, Eliason just laying into him, took him down, and then once they were both down on the ground, Doucette kind of got the advantage. The officials looked like they were going to come in and break it up, and then they stopped and they went on for another half a minute. But I mean, last night, we didn't see anyone really attempt to fight until Luke Goldborough got into it with a couple of Wolves at the end of the game. But it was only a matter of time before someone dropped the gloves between these two teams. And Eliason does it there with Doucette coming off that hit on Barakowski.
So this is going to take a little bit to clean up, I believe, as a lot of evidence inside that Barrie Colts blue line. But give credit to Doucette. He had the advantage early on, and it seems as though when Doucette made contact with the head of Eliason, he just went into rage mode.
Yeah, that's two straight fights for Gabriel Eliason as well, where his opponent has taken his helmet off. Remember, Max Derricolo did that to him against Kitchener. But you look at Eliason and Doucette, I mean, Eliason has 7 inches on him, and then he's a bit heavier of a guy than Doucette is. I mean, credit to Doucette for taking on that task.
So right now, Dylan Smoskowitz having a conversation with referee Blake Beer. So not sure what they're trying to figure out here. There's no penalties on the board, so no instigator for either party.
Well, the timekeepers are trying to figure out if the shovels need to come out for the flood. I mean, there's a crime scene on the top. Slush puppies don't go.
Well, that's just it. It looks like a crime scene. You had both parties leaping from their heads.
That was something straight out of Shoresy.
Well, it is Shoresy night, so it does. The story checks out.
I guess they're going to leave it.
Well, the timekeeper's at the doorway trying to get the referee's attention. He's been signaling, "Do you want a shovel?"
Saying no.
No, they're just going to play on. Puck rolls to the net. Bach's going to send that one aside. Gonchar puts it back behind the Barrie net. What a hockey game here tonight.
I did warn you, things get wild when I end up on color.
It's true. We had that happen in Brantford and now here in Sudbury.
My apologies.
Battle in the corner. It's deep in the Barrie zone. Coughlin gets it here for the Wolves. Here's Walton. Nice move, but it puts that one wide. Gonchar from the corner. Back to Lads at the point. Winds up. His shot stopped by Bach. Gonchar on the far side. He's knocked down. Colts pick it up. Looking it out to center ice. Here's Brad Gardner carrying it in. Gardner drops it back. Nice pass to the net. Bodie Stewart. What a move. But what a save by Leonard. Now the Wolves trying to go the other way. Walton couldn't get the breakaway. And as a result, that's going to be icing now against Sudbury. But Bodie Stewart scores last night and then just looked like a magician going to the net that second time.
Well, it started off with a great play by Brad Gardner. I mean, he had Stewart across the way. He could have just passed it to him then, but he decides to drop it back for Crombie, who has the easier pass to Stewart. And Bodie Stewart was all alone in front of the net, but Owen Leonard with a huge stop there on Bodie Stewart, and that's one that's going to keep the Wolves in this game.
Well, it's the TV timeout here in Sudbury, and right now the officials taking notice to the crime scene that you mentioned inside the blue line. I think they're actually now going to address it.
I guess maybe they just wanted to wait because there was only 25 seconds till a TV timeout.
Yeah, this is true, but
I don't know.
Either way, what a game this has been here tonight, as now the crew has the scraper out. So this will take probably a couple of minutes, as it's quite the scene. inside the blue line. The leftovers from the scrap between Doucette and Gabriel Eliasson. My, oh my.
So when watching that first period, it felt like things were bound to blow up. I mean, right off the start, Tayshaun Aitchison with the first goal of the game and immediately goes and taunts Chase Coughlin, and you're kind of off and running from there.
But give credit to the Sudbury Wolves getting back in this hockey game. They've made it a 1-goal score with Nate Villeneuve getting a second of the night here in the second period. As we'll wait to get this faceoff back in the Sudbury Wolves end. While we have a moment, I want to thank our sponsors that bring this broadcast. It's thank you to Frontline Hockey Apparel, Mariposa School of Skating, and also Craighurst Crossing. Without your support, we wouldn't be able to do these broadcasts here on the road covering the Barrie Colts. And of course, we will be in Sault Ste. Marie tomorrow night as the Colts visit the Greyhounds, and you can catch the broadcast again right here on the channel from the booth with Mike. So it looks like they may have gotten most of the evidence off the ice.
There's more at center ice.
They're finding more. So the arena staff now just trying to find all the drops.
They missed the spot.
Yeah, I see a couple of spots out there.
Well, I'm sure both coaches right now would kind of mind some other guys getting some offense going. I mean, it's a 3-2 game, but there's two players with goals tonight, Tayshaun Aitchison and Nathan Villeneuve. The two captains. Or no, Baudouin's wearing the C tonight.
Yeah, because they're wearing the white jerseys tonight, so Baudouin with the C. But now we've got the crime scene investigators off the ice, otherwise known as the arena staff. And we are ready to continue the second period. 13:37 still to play. 3-2 for the Barrie Colts. All three goals from Barrie coming from Tayshaun Aitchison, and the 2 goals for Sudbury coming from Nate Villeneuve. So we get the face-off to the right of Owen Leonard. So Baudouin will take the draw. Villeneuve being tossed out. Chase Coughlin will come in. Why not wait a little bit longer? There we go. Now we get the face-off. One there by the Wolves. They're going to take it around the net. Hemming takes down Gonchar. Baudouin gets to that loose puck. Asadorian trying to collect it. He's taken down. Looked like he may have gone down a little easy, but Wolves skated up. Here's Walton inside the line, puts it across. Gonchar waits. Shot stop. Rebound. Peeks in the blue paint. Bach keeps it out. Colts will get this one down the ice. Gonchar fans on it. Baudouin takes it away. Baudouin shot stopped by Leonard. Puck goes to the corner. Asadorian trying to send it back to the point, taken away by the Wolves. Puck will go to the far side. Emerton ahead to Baudouin. Baudouin, he's tripped up, and that's going to be a penalty. And that's Nate Villeneuve, who's the guilty party. So the Barrie Colts going back on the man advantage.
2 penalties now for Villeneuve, but his line almost had another goal for the Sudbury Wolves there a minute ago. That puck was sitting loose for Chase Coughlin, and the Colts just a second before he could get to that puck, able to clear it away, and then Baudouin trying to come into the zone, gets tripped up, and Colts will get another power play opportunity. We saw last night the Wolves very disciplined, but that hasn't carried over into tonight.
And this Barrie Colts power play brought to you by Frontline Hockey Apparel. You can find them at frontlinehockeyapparel.com. As the Wolves right away get this down the length of the ice. Barrie right now 2 for 3 on the power play tonight. That third power play was only for about 23 seconds. Asadorian carrying it in. Finds Salandra, dropping it there for Crombie. Across, that pass deflected. Desiderio comes to it. Down low to Asadorian. In the corner, Salandra. Back to Asadorian. At the line, it's Vader. Teague Vader. Down low to Salandra. That got by him. Desiderio behind the net. He'll chase after it. Back to Asadorian. At the point, but Vader can't hold it. Puck's going down the ice. Henderson's chasing after it. Henderson trying to tie up Vader. Taking more time off this power play, which is now down to 1:10. Colts get it to their own line. It's Calvin Crombie through the neutral zone. Crombie carrying it in, but that's going to be offside as Asadorian just ahead of the play.
Not much going on yet for this Barrie Colts power play. 1:04 to go. Top unit going to come out here trying to get something started. It's one thing we saw last night that the Colts were doing better of was getting that depth scoring. first 3 goals in last night's game scored by some players lower in the lineup, and plus Joe Salandra, who, although is playing in the top line, only has 2 goals this season. Tonight, though, it's been the Keyshawn Aitchison's show.
Baudouin will skate this one into the attacking zone as the power play continues in the corner with Lads. Baudouin still with it in front. That pass is taken away and right away sent down the ice. Good stick work there by Ethan Dean. Bonk will leave it back behind his own net. There to pick it up is Cole Emerton. Emerton reaches center ice, goes to Aitchison. He'll dump this one in. Around the boards it goes. Baudouin after the loose puck. He'll let that go by. Gardner can't get a stick on it. Hemming back to Emerton. Over to Aitchison. Keyshawn Aitchison into the slot for Gardner. His stick was tied up. Another chance, and that's over the net by Baudouin. At the point, Emerton across to Aitchison. One-timer. That's blocked by Odell. Here's Gardner now. His stick was tied up, and the Wolves, they're able to clear it. Power play now down to 15 seconds. Emerton being chased there by Clayton. Cole Emerton, he'll send this one ahead, finds Aitchison. Keyshawn Aitchison loses the handle of it. Baudouin follows it up. Baudouin around the net, stays with it from the corner, back to Aitchison. Aitchison with a shot deflected, kicked aside by Leonard. What a save. Aitchison keeps this one down low. The power play has come to an end, so Barrie now 2 for 4 on the man advantage. At the point, Passmore takes the shot. That's going to go wide of the net. Hanser keeping this down low for the Colts. They've got the Wolves hemmed in their own zone. Passmore along the boards. He's tied up. Newton there to provide support. Jaden Newton tied up by Henderson. Stays with it. Newton trying to move it around. Gets some room from the corner. Newton loses the handle of it. Henderson gets this one to the line. Kept in by Passmore. And that's going to be whistled for a glove-to-head pass. And they're going to bring this one outside the Sudbury zone.
Well, Carter Lowe almost had a goal there. And now Passmore getting into it with basically the entire Sudbury team there on the ice.
Well, now Passmore, the center of attention. Nate Villeneuve coming up to him. As the Wolves still a little hot under the collar here, despite playing a much better game in the second period than what we saw in the first period.
Well, things kind of started to turn around 13 minutes in when Owen Leonard ended up in net. Finn Marshall stopped 2 of 5 to start the game. Not what he was looking for. Leonard comes in, and he stopped 10 of 10 so far. And like I was going to say before, Evan Passmore kind of interrupted me there and decided to start a brawl. But Carter Lowe looked like he had a great opportunity. The shot from the point deflected on net. Leonard was sliding across one way, but was able to keep the pad in the middle of the net to make the save and keep it at a 3-2 game.
Face-off won by the Wolves. They're going to skate this to center ice. And now it's going to go around and icing against Sudbury, as they're going to say that was sent in before the red line. As we haven't even hit the midway point of this game officially. We still have 10:09 left to go here in the second period.
Well, I don't know about you, but I thought the first 8 minutes of this game just flew by. And then since then, it's felt like forever with the amount of after whistle action and the cleanup we just had to have.
Yeah, we've had a little bit of everything here tonight as Kieran Walton enters the attacking zone for Sudbury. Down low, Bennett once knocked away there by Newton. Schneid can't get a stick on it. Puck comes the near side. After it is Gonchar. Gonchar takes it down low. He's hit there by Passmore. Puck's in the corner to Walton, and that pass doesn't connect. Gonchar, though, keeps it at the blue line. Across, Ladd's shot stopped in front by Aitchison. Back behind the Colts net is Passmore. Ahead for Lowe. Lowe takes a bump from Gonchar before getting this one down the ice. Lads up to Bennett. Bennett will pass this one ahead. Far side. Hovan will take the shot. Fanned on it. Loose puck picked up by Passmore. Asadorian gets this one out to center. Collected by Blonda. He'll go back to Lads. His pass picked off by Edgar. Colts are making a line change, so delayed offside. This will give Sudbury a chance to regroup. Long pass doesn't connect. And that's now an icing call against Sudbury as the play going back and forth, but just not able to connect on some of those passes right now.
Yeah, it's been a tight game here in the second period again. I mean, both these teams going back and forth, and we talked about it a couple of weeks ago. That's kind of what you expect out of Sudbury Barrie. It doesn't matter who's at the top, who's at the bottom of the standings. That two teams usually play very tight games. Season series 1-1 right now, and this game far from over.
Wolves will get this one down the ice. Cole Emerton back to pick it up for the Colts. Emerton sends it ahead. Desiderio gets a stick on it. And they're going to say this is now icing against Barrie as Desiderio not able to get to it after the red line.
I thought he had.
It looked like it, but they're going to bring this one back. Anyways, why not another face-off?
I'm not a referee.
So face-off will come to the right of Bach. Provorov taking the draw against Asadorian. Into the corner. Sparahowski back to the line. That's deflected and makes contact with a player on the Wolves bench. So they're going to just keep this face-off, I think, in the Barrie Colts zone.
This is an interesting third line for the Barrie Colts. I mean, we talked a bit earlier about Alex Asadorian as a guy that could see some more scoring as the season goes on. Eamon Edgar, over the last couple of games that he's played, has started showing his talent. And Nick Desiderio, an American with tons of potential.
Puck's down low in the Barrie zone. It's Sparahowski taken to the boards there by Vader. Sparahowski staying with it. Back to the blue line. Gonchar. Desiderio gets this one out to center ice. Provorov will send it back. That's going to sail all the way back to Leonard, who leaves there for Blonda. Sparahowski inside the blue line. Passing this one across. That goes off Blonda. Emerton and Blonda, they meet behind the Colts net. Desiderio couldn't handle that loose puck. Hanser delivers a check on Hovan. Emerton off the boards. Asadorian. He's tied up. Cole Emerton back behind his own net. Edgar can't get that one out. Puck goes deep into the Barrie zone. Hanser to Emerton. We'll send that one around. Edgar trying to get this one out of the zone, but Sudbury doing a good job keeping the Colts deep in their own end. Hovan along the boards. Now it's taken away by the Colts. Edgar gives that one up to Hanser, and Colts will get it to center and out. Here's Desiderio. Fans on the shot. Rolls to the net. Leonard's going to guide that to the corner. Gonchar picks up the loose puck here for Sudbury. Wanda. We stood up there by Crombie. Back into the Sudbury zone it goes. Wolves ahead. Gardner knocked that one out of the air. Here's Ferrand. Enters the zone now for Sudbury. Ferrand, fans on that shot attempt. That's going to go around. Gardner can't get it out. Kept in there by Yules. Aitchison gets the loose puck. His stick tied up. Ferrand down low in front. Aitchison will knock that one away. Back to the corner. 7 minutes remaining now in the second period. Colts up by 1. Puck comes to the corner. Wolves moving this one around. Blonde at the point. He'll send that one around. Ferrand gets a stick on it. Drops it back for Henderson. Henderson comes off the boards. Back to Yules. Takes the shot. Deflected in front. That went off Ferrand. Wolves keep it in again. Blonda takes the shot. Deflected. That goes wide to the net. Ferrand. He's tied up. Him and Passmore were mixing it up. Now the Colts get it out. Crombie at center ice. Calvin Crombie over to Bodie Stewart. Stewart to the nets, and Blonda deflects that one wide. Wolves get it out. Vader knocks down that pass attempt, sends it back into the Sudbury zone. But that's now an icing call against the Barrie Colts. As Barrie right now, since the midway point of this period, has been having some issues just getting the puck down the ice.
Yeah, they haven't really had it in the offensive zone at all. It's really been all Sudbury as of late. Gardner, Stewart, Crombie nearly able to get an opportunity there as Stewart fired it across ice looking for Gardner, but it was just a bit ahead of him. And Colts still looking to get things going offensively right now.
Well, Sudbury playing a much better game than what we saw in the first period, where things just got out of hand for them in that opening frame. We're really limiting Barrie's chances just to freewheel it up the ice. Right now, Villeneuve having a conversation with the linesman. Getting pretty heated there before they drop the puck. Face off to the right of Bach. Scrambled draw. Villeneuve has it under his skates. Walton, his shot. Bach got a piece of it. Ends up in the corner. Picked up here by Stewart. Bodie Stewart skates this one in for the Colts. Has it in his skates. Trying to drop it there for Crombie. Crombie in front. Gardner, his shot. Misses the net. Far side Hanser. Down low. Finds Crombie. Back to Hanser. Justin Hanser waiting for the Colts to complete a line change. Back to Emerton. His shot wide of the net. Salandra is there for Barrie. Salandra, though, Nearly lost it to Coughlin. Lads sends it back behind his own net to Gonchar. Gonchar will skate this one out. Ahead finds Coughlin. That bounced over his stick. Aitchison, first one on it. Takes a hard hit there from Coughlin. Colts with possession. Salandra up ahead finds Cole Beaudoin. Beaudoin on the wing. Takes us down low. His pass deflected. Ends up on the far side. 2-on-1 developing for Sudbury. It's Nate Villeneuve. He's got Coughlin going to the net. Toe Drake shot stop. Rebound put wide by Coughlin. What a save there by Bach. And now it's the Colts 3-on-2. Emil Hemming dropping it over to Beaudoin. Beaudoin looking over his shoulder, but that goes to Villeneuve instead. And now the Wolves come back the other way to 4-on-2. Villeneuve weaving across. Shot step for Rowan Henderson. As the Sudbury Wolves, they come back, and they've tied this game at 3.
Well, a couple great opportunities for the Wolves there, and it started with the top line. Villeneuve and Coughlin coming in 2-on-1. Villeneuve decides to shoot it, and Hagen Bach made a great save, and then back the other way came the Colts, and Emil Hemming too much on his pass. He tried to send it to Beaudoin, and then Beaudoin getting a bit too fancy, just trying to no-look backhander. No one was there for the Colts. 4-on-2 back the other way. Villeneuve to Henderson for the one-timer. Don't think Ferran got a tip on it, but he was right in front of Hagen Bach, who didn't have much of a chance on that one.
Well, we'll have to wait and see who they give credit to because, as you mentioned, Ferran had a stick down in front of Bach, but either way, we have a brand new hockey game. The Sudbury Wolves, they've found a way to come back. This game now tied at 3 as Provorov has it deep in the Barrie zone. Berehowski's there. Colts, they get free. Schneid back to Lowe. Carter Lowe flips this one ahead. Yules chasing after it. Yules losing an edge. Schneid able to get to that loose puck. Now he's taken into the boards. Newton with the hit. Colts trying to move it around. Now it's Hovan. He takes a hit there from Schneid. Yules back behind his own net. Yules, they'll pass this one ahead. Vader couldn't get there in time. Puck's going to go deep. Icing waved off. Emerton will play it for the Colts. Up to center ice. Odell. They'll settle it down at center. Across. Provorov's pass doesn't connect. Emerton back in his own zone. Colts trying to move it up. Low chips that one ahead. Out to center, but Luca Blonda comes up with it now for the Wolves. Blonda to Berehowski. Berehowski's got some speed. Skates this one in. Takes the shot. Blocked by Emerton. Puck goes behind the Barrie net. Berehowski backhand pass to Blonda. Luca Blonda across. Finds Martin off the end boards. Puck's coming around, and they're announcing it. It's Alex Ferran who's going to be given credit for the goal. Edgar takes the hit. Puck goes back behind the Colts net. Here's Desiderio. Desiderio loses it. Wolves keep it in. Ferran, the goal scorer that tied it, takes the shot. Stopped by Bach. Puck's loose. No whistle yet. Now we get the whistle. It's a lot of confusion trying to figure out where exactly that puck was. It may have been underneath Vader. But this Sudbury Wolves team, they have battled back. And Barrie Colts right now having some struggles getting it out. And Cole Emerton, he is grimacing as he makes his way to the Barrie Colts bench.
Well, that play started with the most recent goal scorer in Alex Ferran, sending it across, trying to connect with Braden Bennett, but couldn't get it there. As kind of went under Bach, and then no one really knew where the puck was, and then the players just decided that the play was over and started pushing each other around before there was even a whistle.
Yeah, no one was even trying to dig to find the puck. Everyone just was standing there and then just started pushing one another.
Well, it looks like Emerton's still on the bench. Looks a bit better now.
Well, I'll have to keep an eye on Cole Emerton. He looked like he was in quite a bit of discomfort.
You're already down Gabriel Eliason as well, so you don't want to go down to 4D when you already have another game tomorrow and you had another game last night as well.
Yeah, right now in that middle of the 3-3 weekend, they're going to continue this road trip to Sault Ste. Marie tomorrow to face the Greyhounds. As Gabriel Eliason dropped the gloves with Doucette earlier in this second period, and neither player has returned. They both went off for repairs.
Sault Ste. Marie, that's a pretty tough team. The Barrie Colts saw them earlier this year. The Greyhounds beat them, so Colts would love to get things going here, get back in the lead and win this game and have 4 points tucked away going into tomorrow.
And the last time they played the Greyhounds, they didn't even have Brady Martin in the lineup.
Uh-oh.
So the Colts will move this one around. They get it out to center ice. Here's Crombie. He'll dump it in. That goes wide of the net. Lads able to collect it here for the Wolves. Sends that one ahead. Knocked down at center ice. Aitchison trying to get a stick on it. Dean was in the way. Dean settles it down here for Sudbury. In the corner, Gardner ties him up. Crombie back to the point. Lads winds up. Bach got a glove on it. Bennett going around the Colts net. Now goes back to the blue line. Gonchar to Lads. Lads takes the shot. Deflected just wide. That was Ferran who got a piece of it. Nearly gave Sudbury the lead. Now the Colts move it up. Crombie into the attacking zone. Takes the shot. Leonard the save. And that's deflected out of play. But Alex Ferran has really stood up here for the Sudbury Wolves late in the second period.
Well, Ferran's the only guy outside of the top line of Sudbury that has 10 points on the season for the Wolves, and sets up another great opportunity as they're just showing on the screen right now. Ferran getting the deflection on that puck that went in the net to tie the game.
Yeah, that was close as Alex Ferran nearly gave Sudbury the lead. But right now we're going to get the face-off to the left of Owen Leonard. Baudouin taking the draw against Villeneuve. Won by the Wolves. Odell will pass this one forward. Knocked down by Baudouin. Villeneuve's there. Sends this one across. Vader trying to send it forward. Walton back to his defense. Yule's at his own blue line. Sends that across to Odell. Tipped into the Barrie zone. Vader chasing after it. Tied up there by Coughlin. Salandra joins the dog pile in the corner, trying to dig this free. Battle continues. Puck goes around the Barrie net. Salandra chasing after it. Villeneuve gets to it first. Coughlin with that loose puck. He's taken to the boards by Vader. Coughlin still trying to play it. Salandra comes out from behind the net. Ahead for Cole Baudouin. Baudouin reaching center. He'll skate this one in for the Colts. Baudouin leaves it for Hemming. Hemming from the point. Going up the middle. Fans on the shot attempt. Puck rolls to the corner. Hemming picking it up again here for Barrie. Along the far boards. Drops it down low. Baudouin behind the Wolves net. He's tied up by Yules. Baudouin trying to kick that one away. Villeneuve takes it. Sends it forward for Walton. Walton to Coughlin. Coughlin will enter the zone here for Sudbury. That's knocked away by Emerton. And then Desiderio knocks over Coughlin. Cole Baudouin takes it out for the Colts. Almost the final minute here, the second period. Kayshawn Aitchison up the middle, fans. Second attempt goes wide of the net. Now the Wolves trying to take advantage. Long pass up to Chauvin with a shot. Stopped by Bach. Puck goes to the corner. Jan Chauvin. He'll come back to the point. Knocked away by Hemming. We're now in the final minute of the second period. Tied at 3. Wolves after that loose puck. Martin ahead for Barahowski. Barahowski taking this one around the net. Desiderio tying him up. Puck's in the corner. Chauvin trying to knock that one free. 43 seconds. Colts with it. Cole Emerton. He'll skate this one up for Barrie. Reaches center. That's going to go around the boards. Schneid after it. He'll send that one around. Blonda behind his own net. Asadorian comes over across to Stewart, who's coming off the bench. Couldn't get to it. Hanser, though, follows it up. His shot in front. Colts trying to get to it. Alex Asadorian waits, fires. Stopped by Leonard. Puck's in the corner. Schneid trying to play it. 16 seconds left. Schneid from the corner. Back around the boards to Asadorian. Asadorian in front, but Stewart can't get to it. Hanser fires, and that goes off a Wolves player and deflects out to center ice. 5 seconds remaining as the Colts will let this clock run out as we have a tied hockey game after 40 minutes of play. What a much improved period for the Sudbury Wolves. But this one, a little bit of everything so far.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, we've had fights, we've had scoring, we've had a ton of great hockey here tonight between these two teams. And for the Barrie Colts right now, it looked like in the last minute the lines were a bit shaken up there. We saw Schneid, Asadorian, and Bodie Stewart out there on the ice together. So that's a mix of the second, third, and fourth line to begin tonight's game.
And you can kind of maybe look at that fight between Gabriel Eliasson and Doucette of the Sudbury Wolves as maybe the turning point in this hockey game, because up to that point, the Barrie Colts were still controlling the flow of the game. They were getting the opportunities, carrying the puck freely up the ice. But Doucette standing tall against Eliasson. Barrie now down to 3 defense. Or 5 defense. I'm trying to figure out my math, okay? But anyways, it just seems that at that point, this game really changed and Barrie having more difficulties getting the pucks out of the zone.
Well, realistically, I don't think I've seen a chance by the Barrie Colts since then that's been really that of a great quality. I mean, they've been in the offensive zone a couple times, but nothing's really happening to this Barrie Colts team. They're giving up odd man rushes. They gotta thank their goaltender Hagenbach because there was two 2-on-1s in that period, and he was able to stop them both. Now Sudbury just elected just to shoot on both of them, didn't try and pass across and make him move. We'll see maybe if they get a couple more of those opportunities if they decide to do that because the shots Hagenbach was able to make some big saves.
So shots after 2 periods favoring Sudbury 24-17. And the Barrie Colts haven't scored since they chased Finn Marshall out of the net. That was after 5 shots in the game. So Owen Leonard has made some pretty big stops and has really given some life to the Sudbury team.
Well, 5 shots and 13 minutes into the game, and Finn Marshall's night is done. And I mean, for the Barrie Colts, you got to get going after that. Kayshawn Aitchison's the only guy with a goal right now. They're going to need some other players to step up. You look at Sudbury. I mean, yeah, Nathan Villeneuve gets the first goal, but then that line with Ferran and Rowan Henderson gets things going again and ties the game for Sudbury.
So it's the second intermission here at the Sudbury Community Arena. We are tied at 3 apiece. We do have the chat. It's live right now, so we can continue that conversation in a bit. But first, we're going to take a break and check in with Terry Doyle and the OHL news here from Sudbury.
Hello everyone, I'm Terry Doyle. Thanks for joining us on this week's edition of OHL News. Coming up on the show, we'll get an update on what's happening with the Kitchener Rangers. That in a moment, but first, this week's Cogeco OHL Player of the Week comes from their division rival, the Owen Sound Attack, and its forward Harry Nancy. He picked up 9 points on the back of 1 goal and 8 assists over 3 home victories last week. The 18-year-old who hails from the Ottawa area was a 5th-round pick of the Toronto Maple Leafs in the 2025 National Hockey League entry draft after being chosen by the Attack in the 4th round back in 2023. He picked up 55 points over 125 regular season games since coming into the Ontario Hockey League. Congratulations to Harry Nancy of the Owen Sound Attack, this week's Cogeco OHL Player of the Week. Meantime, the Kitchener Rangers have been off to a solid start as we're a quarter of the way through the Ontario Hockey League season. Let's catch up with the radio voice of the Rangers, Mike Farwell.
Well, Mike, the Kitchener Rangers come into this weekend with a .750 winning percentage to get the first quarter mark of the Ontario Hockey League done. What has gone well for the Kitchener Rangers so far?
I think the structure that the team plays, these guys have settled back into. And one of the other things that's jumped out is Christian Humphreys and Jack Pridham starting to find a little bit of that chemistry that they had last season. Started off strong, maybe went away for a little bit, but they've really sort of settled in. But more than anything, I would talk to or point to the structure that this team has. It's a defense first philosophy, and they make sure that they limit the other team's chances. When they're on their game, it's impressive to watch, and I think that's what's got them going in the right direction right now.
I think it all goes back to when UC Hocus came in and putting that structure in. I'm sure you've seen it now with, of course, the reigning OHL Coach of the Year back behind the bench once again, and that very disciplined structure system that he brings.
You nailed it. And he talks all the time about details, stick details, defensive details. Wherever the puck is on the ice, there's an assignment for the player going to that puck. And these guys have it drilled into their heads pretty well. You have to remember, of course, this Rangers team is returning a whole bunch of faces from a year ago. So they're already used to the UC Hocus system. And maybe it just took a little bit of regular season to get that back again. And let's not take anything away from the goaltenders. It was Kitchener Rangers history a week ago when 2 goaltenders got their first career shutouts back-to-back. The team has had back-to-back shutouts before by different goalies, but not their first career shutouts. And I don't want to take anything away from any goaltender in this league that ever gets a shutout, first career or otherwise. But again, just going back to the way that the Rangers are limiting chances, it's not as though there were spectacular saves that had to be made in goal. Definitely some big saves. And again, not to take anything away from a shutout that anybody earns, but this team is limiting chances to the point that your goaltender is relied upon to make the save when the puck comes that way. But it's not like they have to stand on their head.
Well, you kind of stole my thunder a little bit. I was going to say, if you're going to have a good defensive system, you still need strong goaltending. You need to make that save that is expected. It's one thing, they'll clear the rebounds or take care, maybe limit some chances, but it looks like that's one of the keys is if you're going to have a good defensive system, you better have good goaltending to go along with it, and the Rangers have had that.
You're absolutely right. And you go back to the first week of this season, and Jason Schaubel picks up a couple of wins and is the OHL's goaltender of the week while Christian Kirsch was still away. Schaubel was the man and rose to that challenge. And then Kirsch gets back from San Jose's camp, and he's starting his career in the Ontario Hockey League as an import, of course. And maybe the first couple of games, you're thinking he's just got to get himself acclimatized to this league. But boy, has he settled in. And I wasn't surprised at all. Okay, I was a little bit surprised. I just looked at the numbers. I'm like, of course, Christian Kirsch is there. But I saw him in top five. I think sitting second in league statistics goals against wise. And it doesn't surprise me at all because this guy is as steady as they come. I think the San Jose Sharks are going to love the way that he's developing here.
You mentioned so many players back from last season, and it looks like it's a case where a lot of depth, where maybe the Rangers may not have guys at the top 10 of the OHL scoring, for example, or dominate those lists. But it feels like the one thing with the Rangers is they're going to come at you with four lines constantly.
Yes, that's a great way to look at this Kitchener Rangers team. And if I'm being honest, because this Rangers team is a team that has aspirations to host the Memorial Cup next season, I'm looking at the Brantford Bulldogs, for example, and then comparing to the Kitchener Rangers. Where's the Jake O'Brien on this Rangers team? Where's the Merrick Van Acker on this Rangers team? And I could list off a whole bunch of those Bulldogs that are going so well for Brantford this year. So maybe lacking that game breaker, although I think that game breaker could be Oscar Hemming. Who knows who else might be in the wings for the Kitchener Rangers. But coming at you in waves, playing four lines is absolutely the case. And all of this is happening, it's worth pointing out, Terry, without a full lineup for the Kitchener Rangers. Some veteran presences, including the guy that scored the overtime winning goal to knock off Windsor last year. Ellenis hasn't played a game yet for the Kitchener Rangers this season. So a lot of talent still on the sidelines, and this team continues to get the job done with the players that are there because of that depth, because they can just roll those four lines.
Right off the bat, you mentioned Christian Humphries, you mentioned Jack Pridham, two guys who came in last season, obviously now taking the OHL route to enhance their development. And have you found now that they've been there for the start of the season, obviously going through camps, but rather than dropping in mid-season, that they've been able to build right from day one rather than that kind of drop in where it probably took them 5 to 10 games to get used to the OHL style?
There's no question about it. And it's funny. I remember last year when Jack Pridham showed up and what do you have to compare or what do you have to look at? You look at his statistics from the BCHL. What was he doing over there numbers wise? But I hadn't had a chance to see him play at all. And the numbers, frankly, were mediocre, if not just, you just glance at them and you wouldn't think much of them. Then he gets to the Ontario Hockey League and you see the speed that he's got and you see the way he fits into the system. And all of a sudden he puts up, enough goals to be on a 40-goal pace. And when he came back to camp this year in Kitchener, you could tell, Terry, how excited he was to be back in this league, back with this team, and ready to see if he could build on last season and actually, have a 40-goal or better campaign. And I'd say the same and then some for Christian Humphries. I was just talking about him the other day, and it's almost a different kid. And that's not to take anything away from who Christian Humphries was a season ago. Maybe it just takes a little while to get used to your environment, but he has got a maturity and a love for this league that I love hearing from him. He talks about the Ontario Hockey League, how glad he is that he made the choice to come here. Tell you what, if the OHL needs an ambassador for the league and what it can offer a player, Christian Humphries has become that guy. He's just been such a joy to be around. You can see how much he's enjoying being here, and it shows on the ice too.
That was Mike Farwell, the radio voice of the Kitchener Rangers. When we take a look at this week's CHL Top 10 rankings, presented by Delta Hotels by Marriott, once again, the Brantford Bulldogs are the #1 team across the nation. Other OHL representation comes from the Windsor Spitfires at number 3, followed by the Kitchener Rangers there at number 6, as the CHL Top 10 rankings once again well represented by Ontario Hockey League clubs. That's going to do it for our show this week. You have been listening to OHL News. I'm Terry Doyle. Thanks for joining us.
So it's the second intermission here at the Sudbury Community Arena between the Barrie Colts and the Sudbury Wolves. This game right now tied at 3. What a difference from the first period to the second period. We'll break that down in just a few minutes, but we do have the chat. It is open, so if you want to join the conversation, feel free to put your comments there. Let's take a quick look at the out-of-town scoreboard as it's a busy night around the Ontario Hockey League. First off, the Ottawa 67s right now leading the Erie Otters by a score of 4-2. Kuda continues to get the job done with Ottawa. What a score in Flint. Right now, the Firebirds up 8-2 on the North Bay Battalion. 7 goals in the second period.
Well, North Bay is not a team you expect to give up a lot
No,
of goals.
that's crazy.
Flint, not really a team you expect to score a lot either.
Exactly. And then the Kitchener Rangers right now up 4-1 on the Saginaw Spirit. London has tied the game with Kingston. That's at 1 apiece. The Brantford Bulldogs up 5-3 on the Oshawa Generals. They're still undefeated in regulation. It looked like the Petes were going to get that first regulation win last night, but Brantford said no at the power
They're
play.
at the point in the streak where they're just kind of slowly hanging on to it, just barely sneaking in overtime games. But credit to Oshawa. They're playing a pretty good game against a tough Brantford team.
And then the Sarnia Sting right now up 3-2 on the Brampton Steelheads. It looks like Sarnia trying to turn things around. The big win against Owen Sound the other day, and now they got another lead here.
Well, they're starting to figure things out. Maybe that's a Sarnia team with some talent, so hopefully things are starting to go their way.
And tomorrow, the Barrie Colts are in Sault Ste. Marie, and the Greyhounds in action tonight against the Guelph Storm. And right now, it's the Storm up 3-1 on the Greyhounds. And Sault Ste. Marie lost the other day against Flint, and now potentially back-to-back losses. So it's going to be a little bit of a grumpy team, I think, tomorrow at the GFL Memorial Gardens.
Well, they're only 4-4 in their last 8 games. The Sioux team, you kind of expected them to maybe go even further in the right direction with Brady Martin returning, but they've kind of just nettled a bit at 4-4 over their last 8. They've only allowed 11 shots tonight through 2 periods to the Guelph Storm, but allowing 3 goals, not what you want when you have 11 shots on that.
Now, in the first period, Kayshawn Aitchison scoring the hat trick for the Barrie Colts. And I asked Gene, I kind of put him on the spot. It's like, have there ever been a Barrie Colt that scored a hat trick that fast in a first period before? Well, it's been brought to my attention that the New York Islanders prospect scored a first period hat trick in 5 minutes and 7 seconds here in Sudbury. The Barrie Colts defenseman now sets a new franchise record for fastest hat trick in team history, breaking Joseph Blandisi's previous mark of 6 minutes and 54 seconds, set on February 22nd, 2015, also in Sudbury. So Kayshawn Aitchison setting a franchise record here tonight in Sudbury yet again.
Yeah, that was kind of my first instinct, was to try and look around online and see what the OHL record was. And I couldn't really find an answer to that. All it really told me was that Tristan DeLille has the Owen Sound record at 540, but
503. That's the franchise record now for the Barrie Colts, set by Kayshawn Aitchison. And it was a total domination that first period by the Barrie Colts, and Aitchison leading the charge. But in that second period, since that fight between Gabriel Eliasson and Doucette, this game has taken a whole other look. Villeneuve, 2 goals now. Alex Ferrand, a goal, nearly got a second one, as this game has really turned around in favor of Sudbury.
Well, one thing the Wolves have going for them right now that the Barrie Colts don't is their depth was kind of starting to get going there late in the second period. Through the first half of the game, it felt like it was Kayshawn Aitchison versus Nathan Villeneuve, and it reflected on the score sheet. And for the Sudbury Wolves there, though, I mean, they tie the game with Ferrand and Rowan Henderson with a big opportunity. And then those 2 lines, Henderson and Ferrand, split up on different lines after that, but both of them looking pretty good, getting some good opportunities on Haig and Bach. And Bach's held his own here tonight in his first OHL start. You look at 21-24, not the greatest looking stat line, but I thought he's had a pretty solid game.
Well, he wasn't really tested too much in that first period. It was that second where it was just wave after wave from the Sudbury Wolves, where we started to see Bach's athleticism really coming into play. And that's something we saw in the preseason too. He had a couple of those starts, and we saw that. He was able to, be calm in the net. And I'm thinking back to the game, I think it was against the Owen Sound attack that we did. Bach was in for half the game, and he just looked so calm. And we saw a bit of that again here tonight.
Yeah, he looked really solid. I mean, I remember that game. There was one goal that I think he would have wanted back. It was a bit of a floater, but outside of that, he looked pretty strong. And look, for Hagenbach, I think the Barrie Colts knew even when they drafted him, it was always going to be about next season for him in the OHL. Ben Horepic was obviously going to be the starter, and Arvin Jaswal was a guy, although unproven, that this Barrie Colts team liked. And so far this season, the way Jaswal's performed with a .912 save percentage on the season. There's a pretty good reason why the Barrie Colts trusted Arvin Jaswell with that backup role. So right now, there isn't really a spot for Hagenbach if, depending on what Arvin Jaswell's out of the lineup for. I mean, who knows when he comes back, but for Hagenbach, just trying to prove yourself, show to this Barrie Colts team why you drafted me, why I should be a starter next year or a backup next year for this Barrie Colts team.
And of course, with Sault Ste. Marie being tomorrow night, Ben Horebic expected to get the start. And that's what you need from a backup goaltender, a goaltender that can take a game to provide a break for your starting goaltender after Horebic played last night back in Barrie. And it's worked out so far. Now we're going to have to keep an eye on, does Eliasson come back after that fight with Doucette? Also for Henry Doucette, he took a couple of big shots there from Gabriel Eliasson. A part of me would be kind of surprised if we see him back.
Yeah, that was very interesting. I mean, they let that fight go on for very long, and Gabriel Eliasson got a lot of shots on Henry Doucette there. So, I mean, I think for him, he may just take this period off, and the Wolves are going to hope he's back soon because he took a beating in that fight. And but credit to him, he did get some good chances in there. He held his own for the first half of the fight, and then once he took his helmet off, Gabriel Eliasson kind of went into a rage and took him out. And then once they got to the ground, though, felt like Doucette got a couple more shots in, and then he went off the ice in happy spirits. I don't think he's too injured by any means, but when you take so many shots to the head like that, I'm sure the concussion spotters were very worried about it.
Oh, for sure. So the team's back on the ice. So we're getting ready to go here for the third period between the Wolves and the Barrie Colts as they go on the ice. Not seeing Gabriel Eliasson as of yet. Just looking at the Colts bench, no signs of Eliasson, and also not seeing Doucette. So it looks like those two may not be returning to this hockey game after that heavyweight tilt early in the second period of play as we get a changing of the guard when it comes to color commentary. Josh McCann was helping us out in the second, and now we bring back the veteran, Gene Pereira. And from your vantage point, that second period, what's your take with how that game shifted?
Credit to Doucette, that big fight with Elias, and he kind of hung in there on his own, got some shots in early, and it really seemed to spark the Wolves that kind of really completely dominated that second period. And it's an interesting third. I mean, I thought Barrie played really well in the first, not as well in that second period, but credit to the Wolves. They really turned things around.
So it's a tie game, 3-3 as this third period gets underway. Face-off won by the Wolves. Send it up to center ice. Ferran gets a stick on it. There to pick it up is Hemming. He's going to dump this one in. Leonard out of his net to play it. He'll send it around. That got by Hemming. Henderson skates this one up for the Wolves. Through center. Henderson across to Ferran. That pass off a skate of Baudouin. Ferran comes over with it. Takes the shot. Blocked there by Hanser. Justin Hanser will send this one out to center ice. Knocked down by Yules. Puck rolls back into the Barrie zone. Cole Emerton comes up with it. He'll send it up the wing. Here's at Hemming. Emil Hemming flips this one deep into the Sudbury zone. He's going to go off for a change. Wolves with it deep in their own zone. That's Gavin Yules. Yules takes his time back behind the net as both teams right now completing line changes. Wolves moving up. Gonchar up to Walton. Walton's going to send this one deep. Passmore gives chase. Villeneuve follows it up. Takes the shot off the post. Chase Coughlin strikes iron for Sudbury. Puck comes back to the point. Wolves send this one around. Here's Villeneuve along the boards. Villeneuve back to Gonchar. Keeps this one in. Around the boards it goes. Far side, lads. His shot's blocked. Coughlin chasing after it. Taken away by Crombie. Crombie reaches center ice. That's poked away by Gonchar. Coughlin comes up with it. Trying to go to the net. Stopped there by Vader. Vader has a stick ripped out of his hands by Coughlin. Play continues. Bodie Stewart back behind his own net. He's going to take his time as the Colts complete a line change. Now he's going to leave it there for Teague Vader. Wolves also complete the change. Was Vader still behind the Colts net. Now he'll move it up. Long pass up to Edgar. Edgar gets a stick on it, so no icing. Puck goes to the corner, so Leonard can't play it. Blonda gets to it. Puck will come to the corner. Picking it up there is Martin. Martin up the wing. Blocked there by Desiderio. Now Provorov gets it out. Chauvin. Bills chase after this loose puck into the Barrie zone. Provorov up to Chauvin. That got by him. Hanser gets the loose puck. Desiderio Trying to send that one ahead. Provorov is in the way. Vader back behind his own net. Vader facing pressure there from Provorov. Govan behind the net. Provorov in front. Tied up there was Barahowski. Now the Colts get it out. Asadorian at center. He'll enter the zone on the wing. Takes the shot. And Leonard with the glove save. As we have Martin and Desiderio mixing it up after the whistle. But the Sudbury Wolves seem to be continuing where they left off. Really giving Barrie a tough go trying to get it out of their zone.
All the momentum in that second period and shots 15-4 in that middle frame, and the Wolves continuing it here early and took one off the iron, and the Colts gonna have to find a way to steal momentum, get something going here.
So face-off will come to the right of Leonard. Newton taking the draw here against Bennett. Scramble draw, Colts get to it. Low, comes back to the point, keeps this one in. Around the boards it goes. Schneid chasing after the loose puck. He'll get to it. Sends that to the corner. Newton with possession. Drops this one back. Low, can't get to it. Now knocks down in front. What a save by Leonard. He robs William Schneid. Low, going back behind the net. Loses it to Gonchar. Gonchar tied up there by Schneid. Dean along the boards. He'll get this one out. Emerton from his own blue line. He'll skate this one ahead into the attacking zone. That goes around. Odell behind the net. He'll send that one around. Henderson on the far side. He'll skate this one ahead for Sudbury. Henderson in the attacking zone. Trying to go to the net. Has the speed. Loses the handle. Puck net comes off. And now we get the whistle as crashing into the net was Keyshawn Aitchison. As that takes away a scoring chance for the Sudbury Wolves.
Colts with a great opportunity. Low behind the net, find Schneid in front, and what a big time stop. Keep this one all even, and the Wolves come right back down. That was really the best opportunity we've seen from Barrie in a while.
So we'll get the face-off now to the left of Bach. 16:46 left to go in the third period, tied at 3. Face-off won by the Wolves. Odell takes the shot. That goes wide. Side of the net, picked up by Emerton. Ahead for Salandra. Trying to flip that one ahead. Knocked away by Henderson. Back into his own zone. Yules will skate this one forward for Sudbury. Dumps this one in. Around the boards. Vader behind his own net. Teague Vader sends this one ahead. Salandra across for Hemming. Emil Hemming. That's center ice. He'll skate this one in for the Colts. Hemming still with it. Takes their shots. And that one deflected out of play. And then Hemming dumps behind the Sudbury net, but nothing more will come of that.
Slander and Aitchison go over and check with the important first-round pick of the Dallas Stars. And Southern Colts can get some pushback here and some shots. A little bit better here in these last few minutes. And great opportunity by Schneid and in front of the net there, and a nice setup from behind by the net by Carter Lowe.
So face off to the left of Leonard, scramble draw. Colts trying to dig it free. Hemming, quick shot. That's blocked. Rolls to the net, knocks aside. Cole Baudouin comes up with it for the Colts. Along the boards, Hemming in the corner. It's knocked away by Coughlin. After it now is Baudouin. Cole Baudouin behind the net. Salandra takes it away. Back to Vader at the blue line. Vader with the shot, stopped by Leonard. Aitchison trying the shot, but Villeneuve was in the way. Coughlin slow to get up. Didn't see what happened to him. Now the Wolves get it ahead. Coughlin at his own blue line. He'll skate this one up. Collides there with Salandra. Chasing after it is Coughlin. Aitchison takes it away. Keyshawn Aitchison dropping it back to Vader. Had to be careful there with Walton. Puck sent to the neutral zone. Picked up here by Blonda. Blonda gets it again. Enters the Barrie zone. Weaves, can't keep it in the zone. Forced back out to center. Villeneuve on the far side. Blonda chips this one back to Martin. Back to Blonda. Up the wing, Villeneuve. At center. Across, finds Martin. Martin's going to dump this one in. Around the boards it goes. Hands are on the far side. Lost sight of it between his skates. Now he'll find it. Justin Hanser. Ahead for Crombie. Crombie carrying it in for the Colts. Calvin Crombie to Bodie Stewart. That puck went over his stick. Puck goes down low. Stewart keeps this one in at the line. Can't hold on to it too long as Martin knocked it free. Down low to Crombie. In front of Stewart. All alone Stewart. Trying to tuck it around, but Leonard had that foot out And that does not cross the line. Colts trying to respond quickly here. Now it's Brad Gardner on the wing. Takes the shot. Leonard with the pad save. Far side Crombie. He can't hold on to it. Chauvin will get it out. Crombie. Or make that Emerton. He'll set up Kayshawn Aitchison. That's center ice. Knocked down by Provorov. Provorov will send it back to his defense. That's Liam Lads. Lads up to Chauvin. Chauvin will carry this one in. Over to Berehowski. Back to Chauvin. He'll peel back. Pass blocked by Desiderio. Asadorian, he's going to get that one down the ice, but too much on it, as that's going to be an icing call now against the Barrie Colts.
Couple of great opportunities for the Barrie Colts, and it was Bodie Stewart who was left all alone in front and tried to tuck that one in on the short side, similar to what Aitchison did, but not this time. And big toe save. And Barrie Colts again, they're getting some opportunities, some great opportunities here in this third period.
Well, they're starting to pick up the pace a bit. Shots now 25-23 in favor of Sudbury. As the Wolves get this one deep, Kayshawn Aitchison there to collect it now for Barrie. Schneid sends it deep. Leonard leaves it there for Lads. Lads behind the net, tied up by Asadorian. That's knocked free. Wolves able to recover. Gonchar skates this one out. Taken away there by Hanser. Hanser skating it in now for the Barrie Colts. Hanser trying to go to the net on his backhand. Across, scores! Alex Asadorian on the back door, set up by Hanser. And the Barrie Colts, they're back in front.
What a setup by Justin Hanser, the defenseman there, and just great patience with the puck. Finds himself in the crease there, the blue paint, just slides across, and Asadorian taps it in. What a beautiful setup, a great patience by Hanser. He just waits for Asadorian to get in down low, and nice little soft pass. And the former Sudbury Wolf, Asadorian, comes back here with a go-ahead goal.
So for Alex Asadorian, that's now 3 goals on the season. Everyone was caught looking at Justin Hanser taking it to the net. And Asadorian, he capitalizes. So Barrie Colts back in front. They send this one deep. Ewell's there to play it for Sudbury. Ferrand knocks that one down, gives it up to Odell. Odell at center. He's going to dump this one in for the Wolves. Around the boards it goes. Ferrand on the far side. Puck goes in the air. Slandra can't get it out. Following it up, though, is Cole Baudouin. Baudouin skating through the neutral zone. Reaching for it is Henderson. Baudouin, he's rubbed into the boards. Ewells gets it for the Wolves. Ahead, Ferrand loses it. Knocked out to center ice. It went off Clayton. Now it's back in the Barrie Colts zone as Aitchison has it at his own blue lines. Aitchison sending this one around the boards. Leonard behind his own net to play it. He'll give that one back to Ewell. Ewells from the corner. Goes across to Odell. Ewells again as the Wolves try and set up. Walton at center. That's poked away. Here's Emil Hemming skating in and now for the Colts. Takes the shot. Leonard makes the save. Villeneuve able to get to that loose puck. They'll come to the near side. Pass nearly taken away by Stewart. As Villeneuve is trying to find Kieran Walton on the near side. As we see that quite often, when Walton and Villeneuve are out there, they're looking for each other. And that time, that's not able to connect.
Well, we're going to see him a lot here as we move along in this third period. But, that last shot by Hemming, Leonard had to be ready on that one. That was a laser. I mean, Hemming was able to really wind that one up, and that thing comes off his stick like a rocket, and Leonard getting the blocker out. So it's, Dylan Smoskowitz talking to him. He said, look, he goes, that game in Brantford when they gave up that 3-goal lead, yes, it's the Brantford Bulldogs, but they weren't happy about that. They won it in overtime, but again, they weren't happy about giving up a 3-goal lead. And he talked about our third periods being better. And after kind of a bit of a start for the Wolves, but the Colts have really taken over in those latter stages. And like I said, now shots for Barrie, 8-1 in this third period here. Through almost nearing the midway point of this third period.
Well, obviously, Dylan Smoskowitz probably not happy with how that second period ended with the Wolves coming back and outplaying the Barrie Colts. And whatever message was delivered in that locker room is paying off in this third period. As the Colts back to kind of what we saw in that first period. 12:26 left to go now in this third. Colts trying to send it in. It goes off the linesman. And that's going to be offside. Now we've got Gardner dropping the gloves with Villeneuve. Brad Gardner and Nathan Villeneuve back behind the Sudbury net going toe-to-toe. Gardner trying to get that right free. As Gardner, we don't see this often from the overage forward. These two tied up, not seeing a lot of throws. Now Villeneuve trying to go over top. Gardner with the right. Villeneuve trying to take the helmet off Gardner, and he gets the takedown. And these two not done as the linesmen separate them, still trying to reach over top. Now second fight here tonight, but Brad Gardner, something we don't see from him often.
Well, Villeneuve and Gardner were right off the face-off circle. They were kind of chirping a bit at each other, and we know that this is part of Villeneuve's game, and we don't see it often from Gardner, but he didn't back down. He didn't back down one bit.
But now if you're the Barrie Colts, you're looking at the trade-off. You lose Brad Gardner here for the next 5 minutes, but for Sudbury, they're losing Villeneuve, so the trade-off kind of favoring Barrie here.
Again, you saw Villeneuve just kind of go over them, and he was looking to get going, and Colin took a little bit to get going, but I tell you, it was relatively calm last night compared to tonight. But
well, I think you mentioned it in the broadcast last night on Rogers that it's calm here tonight, but expect a little bit of a different game here in Sudbury. And sure enough, this is what we're getting.
Well, you don't forget. I mean, it's not that long a ride and not that long in between times when these two teams another heated contest.
Kayshawn Aitchison dumping this one in. Schneid chasing after it. So no extra penalties as a result of the fight between Gardner and Villeneuve. So it remains 5-on-5. Puck bouncing behind the Wolves net. Schneid loses the puck as Berehowski comes up with it. Up to Walton through the neutral zone. Ahead, Coughlin had a stick tied up by Newton. Takes away that chance. Jaden Newton taking this back behind his own net. Passmore. Evan Passmore ahead for Schneid. Bumped there by Gonchar. Schneid at center. He's going to dump this one in. Around the boards it goes. Bodie Stewart taken into the boards there by Lads. Provorov comes up with it. Back to Gonchar. Gonchar ahead. Finds Provorov. He's going to skate this one in. Trying to go around Emerton, but that's taken away. Walton, though, forcing his way through, but Vader comes up with it now for the Colts. Stewart dropping it there for Asadorian. He'll flip this one in the air. Crombie chasing after it. Gonchar there to play it. Leonard, though, poked that one away. Loose puck. Stewart. That's knocked away. Bodie Stewart at the line. Takes the shot. That's blocked by Dean. Picked up by Crombie. His shot wide of the net. Asadorian's there. Trying to go up around. Now he goes back to Emerton. Across. Finds Crombie in the slots. That one's blocked. Chauvin will come up with it. Side of the net. That's deflected. Nearly poked in by Crombie. Leonard had to react quickly there. Wolves with it. They're going to send this one forward. Vader. He's crushed by a pair of Wolves, and that's going to be offside as that collision happened inside the line. Vader hunched over as he was crushed.
Big time hit, man. After Provorov, I don't know what he started rushing toward the net. Or two Wolves. The blue line, he was complaining about it being offside. I'm like, the officials kind of look at it and go, there are two guys.
Did you not see the blue jersey? Well, even Asadorian behind him had his arm up. He was being the linesman.
It was almost like, don't pay attention to them.
Well, either way, we're going to get a face-off now inside the Colts blue line. 10:26 left to go. Face-off won by the Colts. Here's Hanser. He's going to reach center ice. Sends that one deep. Yule's behind the net. Salandra gives a hit there. Ferran trying to get this one out. Ferran flips it in the air. That's going to go to center ice. Henderson's there, but it actually goes out of play. And I think this is going to be a delay game penalty. The Wolves bench is saying it was deflected, but the official indicating 2 minutes for delay of game.
Oh, what an opportunity here for Barrie as Ferran's going to go off. That's Ferran. He's just going to get that one, trying to flip it out. took off on him. And very power play. Going to go right back to work here with their 5th opportunity of the contest.
This power play brought to you by Frontline Hockey Apparel. You can find them at frontlinehockeyapparel.com. As the Wolves win the draw, and they'll get this one down the ice quickly. Bach will play it back behind his own net as the Colts regroup. Emerton will skate this one forward. That's center. It's Beaudoin. Enters the zone over to Aitchison. Kayshawn Aitchison flipping this behind the net. That'll go around to Salandra. Here's Hemming at the point. Emil Hemming skating this one down low. Backhand pass to Beaudoin. Continues it around the boards. Aitchison after the loose puck. Aitchison already 2 power play goals tonight. Sends it back to Emerton. Across to Hemming. Hemming sending this down low to Beaudoin. Cole Beaudoin around the net. Has it in the corner. Does a lap up to Aitchison. Kayshawn Aitchison now from the corner. Passes it across. That's deflected. Hemming chasing after it before Clayton can get there. But that puck's going to escape the zone. Hemming weaving. Had his pocket picked by Henderson, but Emil Hemming able to recover. Cole Beaudoin enters the zone now for the Colts. From the corner, Beaudoin back to the line. Here's Cole Emerton. Across, finds Hemming. Hemming takes his time. His pass deflected. Emerton keeps it in. Here's Aitchison. One-timer. That's going to sail wide of the net and all the way down the length of the ice. Power play down to 42 seconds now for the Colts. Emerton back behind his own net, and he's going to leave it there, or he wanted to leave it there. Now he'll do his own skate. Up to center. That's going to come around. Desiderio on the far side overskates it. Acidorian from the corner. Trying to play that one. Ends up back behind the Sudbury net. Martin plays it, and he's going to get this one out. 15 seconds now remaining in the power play for the Barrie Colts. Well, Sudbury doing a good job in the second half, really limiting Barrie's opportunities. Crombie sends it over to Desiderio. Desiderio gets the breaks. He stood up. Wolves with it. They're able to get this one out to center. Passmore comes up with it now for the Colts. He'll enter the zone. His shot wide of the net. That's going to go around. As the power play has come to an end, back to 5-on-5. Colts down low. Acidorian trying to tuck it around as Leonard holding that post. Now we've got a dog pile behind the Sudbury Wolves net. Can't tell who's at the bottom of it. I see Acidorian, but I don't think we're going to get any penalties out of this.
It looks like it's Desiderio that goes in looking for the rebound, and he draws a crowd in a pile. Acidorian's trying the short side. It's worked a couple of times for the Colts tonight, looking to get it working again, but what a huge penalty kill for Sudbury. Already down by a goal here, and time continues to tick off in this third period. It's a big penalty kill. A solid third period for the Barrie Colts continues now. Out shooting Sudbury 29-25. 12-1 the shots in this third period for Barrie.
And remember, Nate Villeneuve, he's in the penalty box right now after dropping the gloves of Brad Gardner, as he's been a key player here tonight for the Sudbury Wolves. They send it deep. Walton goes around the net in front, and getting a paddle on it was Bach. Gonchar giving that one up to Blonda. Down low to Walton. Takes the shot. Bach the save. Puck's loose. Sitting in front. Makes another save. He's trying to find it. And he'll get the glove on it and holds on for the whistle. As we speak of the lack of shots from Sudbury, and suddenly they just put on a barrage.
Well, and who's in the pile again but Coughlin this time? Drawn back and forth with Passmore, and then Aitchison gives a little bit of a shot from behind, but Bach wisely not taking a chance to get that big min on it. 7:29 remaining. Sudbury can use Shorzy right now. They're flashing.
Yeah, it is the Shorzy night here in Sudbury, and it kind of felt like a Shorzy episode in that second period. Right now, the Colts up by 1. Beaudoin ahead, finds Hemming. Hemming into the attacking zone. He's tied up along the boards. Henderson overskates it. Wolves, though, get it out to center. Picked up by Salandra. He's going to dump it in. Hits the linesman. Baudouin with the hit. Ferran gets it at the Colts blue line. Back to Clayton. Clayton trying to get around Hanser. That's knocked to the corner. Hanser delivers the hit there on Clayton. Cole Baudouin dropping it back to Aitchison. Clayton and Hanser still battling behind the play. Fans here want a penalty, but none coming. Colts trying to get possession deep in the Sudbury zone. Now it's Odell up to Jovan. Jovan will escape this one in. Drops back to Provorov. Provorov inside the blue line. Takes the shot. There's going to be a penalty now coming against the Barrie Colts, as I believe it's going to be Calvin Crombie delivered a hit as he came off the bench. 5:30. So it's going to be a 2-minute penalty here against the Barrie Colts.
Opportunity here for Sudbury, and let's see, strong part. Hands are getting involved behind the play. Going to go off, and Villeneuve will be out there, and Walton, no surprise, and Wand on the back end.
Well, it's now the fourth power play of the hockey game for the Sudbury Wolves. Well, we also have Alex Asadorian heading to the penalty box. Some confusion. Asadorian saying he was told to go to the box, but now he's being sent back. Right now, Dylan Smoskowitz trying to get an explanation as to what's going on. And it's Blake Beard, the official, that called the penalty. Smoskowitz standing on the bench doesn't look impressed. He's trying to figure out what exactly is going on. But it is a penalty here against Calvin Crombie.
All right, looks like we're finally going to get started. It's been that kind of night.
You just never know what you're going to get. And now we got to wait for this face-off coming to the left of Hagen Bach. Face-off won by the Colts. Passmore sending it back to Hemming. Hemming, he's right away sending this down the ice on goal. Leonard had to get under that one. Wanda up to Villeneuve at center ice. Backhand pass to Chauvin. Chauvin carrying this one in. Trying to drop it back. That's taken away. Here's Ferran. His shot blocked. Side of the goal. Villeneuve's going off for a new stick. Colts trying to get it out. They won't. Kept in by Blonda. Far side Walton. Villeneuve with a new twig. Receives the pass. Winds up. Doesn't take a shot. Puts it off Baudouin. Blonda fires. Deflected wide. Near side Villeneuve. Nate Villeneuve. Puts this one down low to Ferran. Back to Villeneuve. Villeneuve back to Blonda. Blonda at the point. His pass deflected. Here's Villeneuve again. Nate Villeneuve. Back to Blonda. Blonda to Walton. Doesn't take the shot. Staying with it. Walton to Villeneuve. Back to the line. Blonda. Walton winds up and fires that one wide. And that one ends up going out of play as the power play now down to 57 seconds.
Oh, Villeneuve and Wanda orchestrating things back there and looking for Walton for the one-timer. And these two teams leaning big time on their veterans. Seen a lot of Baudouin and Hemming. Who's third period? And of course, the Wolves, no surprise with Villeneuve was off with the major, but also Walton and Blonda. You'll see a lot of them here with just 5:27 remaining.
And we'll keep an eye on Owen Leonard to see when he's going to go off for the extra attacker. It was just the other night against the Erie Otters. There's a lot of confusion as to why Erie didn't pull the goalie. But we'll see what the Wolves do this time around as the Colts able to tip this one down the ice. Villeneuve, his pass deflected. That's going to go across. Walton in his own zone to collect it. Kieran Walton picks up some momentum. 44 seconds left in the power play. Walton enters the zone. That's taken away. Slandered to the line. Kept in by Villeneuve. Villeneuve sets up Ferran. Down low. Chauvin will peel back behind the Colts net. Chauvin going back and forth behind the net. Now a quick pass, but that doesn't connect with Ferran. And that's going to sail out to the neutral zone. Walton telling Blonda to get moving. Walton very vocal. Here's Blonda carrying this down low. Takes the shot. Stopped by Buck. Rebound back to the point. Kept in by Villeneuve. Villeneuve back to Walton. Walton to Ferrand. Ferrand back at the line. Fans want a shot. Here's Walton across one-timer. Villeneuve fans on it. And the power play has come to an end. Here's Walton at the line. Doesn't take the shot. Now he will. Puck's loose in front. Picked up by the Colts. Calvin Crombie skating this one out for Barrie. Puts it across. Finds Newton. Newton to the net. Across. Schneid scores. William Schneid gets it across the line. Great passing from Newton. And just like that, the Barrie Colts, they're back up by 2.
Well, that one just came seconds after Ferrand almost had the game tire there right in front of the net. Couldn't connect on that pass across the crease. The Colts come right back, and Jaden Newton finding a streaking slide coming towards the net, and he ends up sliding it under Leonard, and a big goal for the Barrie Colts here. Gives them a bit of breathing room here with 4:14 remaining.
Well, that just seemed to take the air out of the arena as the Sudbury Wolves had a couple of great chances to nearly tie this hockey game, but the power play expires. They're now 0 for 4 on the power play tonight, and the Colts come the other way and make it a 5-3 hockey game. Newton to Schneid. Puck goes deep into the Sudbury zone. Gonchar is there to collect it. 4 minutes left to go in the hockey game. There's a turnover. Crombie trying to go to the net. He knocks it to the side, but couldn't get it out of the air. Wolves get this one down the ice. Vader inside his own blue line to play it. Teague Vader through center. Takes a hit. That was Dean delivering that check. Wolves on the near side. At center. Dean chips that up to Berehowski. He takes a hit from Vader. Here's Emerton. He'll flip this one down the ice. Lads back to pick it up here for Sudbury. 3:35 remaining now in this third period. A long pass. Coughlin tips it in, so no icing. Emerton behind his own net, being chased up the wing. Picking up that pass is Walton. Walton to the net, trying to wrap around. His shot stopped. Rebound, and that's knocked away by Emerton. Hanser gets this one out to center ice. Yules gets under it. Sends that to an open wing. Emerton comes up with it. He's going to dump it in. Ends up behind the Sudbury net. Beaudoin there for the Colts in front. That pass deflected. Joe Salandra was standing out in front. Walton to Gonchar. He'll skate this one in. Gonchar from the corner. Stopped there by Bach. In front, Ferrand trying to get a stick on it. That handcuffed him. Puck goes to the corner. Aitchison behind his own net in a battle with Ferrand. 2:48 remaining. We have the extra attacker as Leonard's on the bench. Gonchar at the point. Here's Blonda. Blonda sending this down low. The Wolves moving it around. Walton back to Blonda. Blonda riding the blue line. Takes the shot. Blocked by Beaudoin. Loose puck picked up by Hemming. Empty net. Hemming looks at the cage and puts it right down the middle. And that makes it a 6-3 hockey game. Now we got Coughlin going after Aitchison, but Aitchison also celebrating in the face of Coughlin. Those two are going to get on unsportsmanlike, I believe.
Well, they've been going at it all game, but Emil Hemming, another huge contest. I think that's his third point of the night. A goal and 2 assists. Continues his torrid pace, and a big goal into the empty net for the Barrie Colts. Just 2:27 in control. What a third period bounce back by Barrie. The Colts up 3-1 after 20 minutes. And Sudbury completely flipped the script in that second period. Big time period. Outshot Barrie 15-4. Got a couple of goals to tie it, but for about a couple of minutes, Barrie just completely took over in this third period. And it looks like they're going to get rewarded for it.
So it's a 6-3 hockey game. Emil Hemming is third of the season. 2:24 left to go in the hockey game. Puck sent deep. There to play it is Hanser. Emerton in the corner to play it. Colts trying to move it up. Picked up by Henderson. Henderson takes the shots, and that goes into the glove of Bach. And now we've got Newton tying up Clayton. But nothing more will come of that. But what a wild turn of events this hockey game has been.
It's just been a great hockey game. I mean, right from the drop of the puck. I mean, so much has happened. I mean, we've seen some great goals, some great efforts, and a lot of physicality in this one. A lot of fisticuffs, and what a game! A great crowd here in Sudbury tonight.
Well, I'd be curious as to what was said in the dressing room at the second intermission because it was that second period. Sudbury took over. You had to fight Doucette standing up against Eliasson, and it seemed as though Sudbury had all the momentum. Barrie couldn't get it out of their zone. Their chances were really limited, and it seemed like this game was going in Sudbury's favor. But suddenly, they come out in the third, and the Colts just dominating, much like we saw in the first period.
Well, Dylan Smoskowitz talked a lot lately about third periods, and he's got to be happy how his team responded here, and just 2-11 now away from getting Hagen Bach his first OHL win in his debut. And make no mistake, that's something that the Colts players, they want it for their young goaltender, the coaching staff. We're just a couple of minutes away from it here.
Yeah, we're now down to 2 minutes remaining in this third period. Wolves have it down low as Bennett sends it back to the line. Martin over to Lads. Fans on that one-timer. Puck goes behind the Colts net. Picked up there by Clayton. Back to Lads. We'll send that one around. Henderson there to play it. Here's Clayton from the corner. Back to Lads at the line. Lads takes the shot, deflected. That's going to go wide of the net. Desiderio to the line, kept in by Martin. Martin settles it down, takes the shot wide of the net. Not able to get a stick on it. There was Clayton. Back to the point. Lads takes the shot, went off Henderson. Henderson again fires. Looked like Bach may have got a piece of it. Desiderio to the line and down the ice. Approaching the final minute of this hockey game. Wolves down by 3. Here's Henderson inside the Colts blue line. He's stopped by Vader. Puck back into the Sudbury zone. Blonda ahead to Chauvin. He'll send that one forward. Vader puts that one back to the Sudbury blue line. Back and forth it goes. Carter Lowe sends it deep. Gonchar back to pick it up here for Sudbury as we're now in the final minute of this hockey game. Blonda ahead for Provorov. That doesn't connect. Wolves back at their own blue line to pick it up. Blonda taking it back into his own zone. Luca Blonda ahead, finds Berehowski. Provorov reaching for it, gets by Vader. Provorov trying to go to the net. Backhand pass, blocked by Passmore. Schneid there to collect it, puts that one off the glass and down the ice. It's going to sail all the way down, but not enough for icing. Down to 25 seconds. Wolves send it ahead. Here's Berehowski. In a battle there with Hanser. Hanser gets it out. Won't be enough for icing again. 15 seconds. Blonda back behind his own net. Pressure there from Desiderio. Clock running out here as Provorov sends it around. Gonchar, puck gets by him. 3 seconds. And that will do it. Hagen Bach with his first career OHL victory. And the Barrie Colts now have a 6-game winning streak.
Well, pretty happy Hagen Bach, and who can blame him? Look at his teammates all around the young netminder. Congratulate him. Makes his OHL debut tonight. Stops 25 shots in a 6-3 win. Barrie and extends the Colts win streak to 6 games. And after a second period, when it looked like the momentum had completely shifted, the Wolves battled back to tie it with 2 goals in that second period. But credit to the Barrie Colts, and Dylan Smoskowitz has to be happy how his team responded in that third period. An outstanding first period by Keishon Aitchison, a record-setting first period. But credit to the Colts here, who were completely dominating that second period, but bounced back in the third when they had to.
And obviously, I'm sure for Smoskowitz, seeing what happened there in the second period, you keep saying you want to have a full 60-minute effort. We didn't get that here tonight. They kind of looked like they were skating in sand there at times in that second period, but they were able to get their game back on track and pull off this big 6-3 victory over their Central Division rivals.
Sudbury, you got to know they're going to push back. They're down 3-1, lost last night in Barrie, and here they are at home in a big crowd, and they're going to be pushed back. And credit to the Wolves, they really dominated that second period, but Barrie dominated the third period. And credit to again, different aspects. You get the big guns as well, but it was a physical one tonight. I think we expected that, but young Hagenbach, just solid back there in the net for the young goaltender, and a big night for him, obviously.
And as you mentioned, too, the players on the ice know what they're playing for here tonight with Bach between the pipes. That second period, when Sudbury really started to pick up the pace and start to take over the hockey game, Bach was forced to make a couple of key saves in the game, or else Sudbury, I think, they could have had that lead coming into the third period. So the young netminder doing his job here tonight and giving the Colts that chance. And for Barrie, able to get that victory in the end.
Yeah, and that momentum carried on early in the third period. I mean, when you looked at it first, I think the first couple of minutes, Sudbury continued to press, but the Colts eventually kind of got going, got front and seated, got a big goal to take the lead. And then, they had to kill a penalty there, and, they had their own power play opportunity. But, credit to Barrie. I mean, they pushed back. I mean, strong third effort. I know Dylan Smoskowitz really focused, and even though it was the Brantford Bulldogs, he was not happy by the Colts blowing that third goal lead in Brantford. And I'm sure he wasn't happy tonight with the way his club played in that second period. But you want to see pushback a lot on the line, and the Colts come through tonight.
So it's a big 6-3 victory against the Sudbury Wolves, and we're going to be back here in a week and a half. So it's not a long time between matchups between these two teams, and we're going to have 2 more visits here to Sudbury. So this rivalry, it's going to only get more intense from here on out as these teams continue to meet for a total of 8 times this season.
Yeah, again, you get back-to-back nights here, and you see the difference, right? You see the physicality and the intensity, and it's just outstanding. But again, we're going to be back. I mean, and there's not a long time between these games, so these teams are going to remember. And look, it was a great one tonight. I think we can expect a couple of more times here this month. I think they're going to be pretty good hockey games.
So our 3 stars of the game presented by Craighurst Crossing by Georgian Communities. New homes minutes from North Barrie, where inspired living meets small town charm. So your 3 stars tonight. Owen Leonard named the 3rd star. He came in relief. He stood tall in this hockey game after Finn Marshall chased after allowing 2 goals on 5 shots. And Leonard, 23 saves tonight. Nathan Villeneuve, the 2nd star, 2 goals and an assist. And are we really surprised? 1st star, Kayshawn Aitchison with that hat trick. All 3 goals coming in that first period.
Yeah, I mean, Villeneuve so big, obviously, for the Sudbury Wolves after that game last night where they didn't do a lot, and they bounced back tonight. But Kayshawn Aitchison, what can you say in that first period? Just continues to fill the net and, play a big role. And again, just, you look at a lot of areas that Dylan Smoskowitz can look in this game and say, look, the penalty kill again was really good once again, coming up big, and the power play came up big. You had your veterans pitching in, Vogtman, Hemming continued to add. You got some goals. I mean, look at Hansler jumping in on that play, and setting up an absolute beauty by Snide. Again, and so it really speaks to volumes. A lot of areas that Dylan Smoskowitz has to be happy with, and contributions from a lot of players here tonight.
So from the Sudbury Community Arena, it's a final score 6-3 for the Barrie Colts, extending their winning streak to 6 games. And we'll be back at it tomorrow night when the Barrie Colts visit the Sioux Greyhounds. You can catch the broadcast here. Live stream gets underway at 6:45 p.m. We want to thank everyone who's tuned in. Thank you to our sponsors, for Gene Pereira and for Josh McCann. I'm Mike Poirier saying so long from Sudbury.